greatest of all teachers and giver of love, hope, faith, and wisdom, look upon your children, the teachers, learners, parents, guardians, and out-of-school youth and adults. We humbly ask for your mercy and forgiveness. Guide us to the right path. May our efforts be blessed with insights and understanding, wisdom and respect for all. Bless us with patience, for the path of learning is never easy. Bless our commitment to keep on learning new knowledge and experiences. Let your light shine upon us as we make our world a better place to live in. Amen.
Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa EdTech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng EdTech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapagpusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also our refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng alauna at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd EdTech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Cognizant to the needs of our learners, parents, and teachers, the Department of Education provided us with powerful tools for productivity that will allow us to foster critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication and collaboration skills to be compassionate, responsible global citizens. Join us and discover new ideas in our series of professional development training program with the ICTS-EdTech Unit and Microsoft Education Philippines. Together, we will equip our learners and empower our fellow educators for a dynamic future. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Sulong Edukalidad.
Good day! This is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.
Mag-amazing Saturday po sa ating lahat. Ayan, most especially to all the science teachers nationwide. Talagang nakakataba ng puso ng Ma'am Vic ang talagang ipinakitang suporta ng ating mga webinar participants last week. And of course, don't forget po to share ang ating pong webinar sessions po ngayon para patuloy pong makapanood po ang ating mga kaguruan din po natin. Good morning sa iyo, Ma'am Vic.
Yes, Ma'am Miriam, mag-amazing din sa So yes, Ma'am Miriam, mag-amazing din po sa iyo. Tunay nga na nag-uumapaw sa saya ang ating experience noong nakaraang Sabado. We are now on our third week of webinar series. Please join us with our hashtag NSCM Week 3.
Week 3. Okay, before we continue, of course, with our program, Ma'am Vic, let's pave the way for the shout-outs of the different SDO. So tayo na pong mag-comment down sa ating comment box at baka ikaw na po ang susunod na matawag. So, okay, magbabasa po muna ako ng comments dito.
Presenting.
Hindi pa. Okay, from watching from Nuestra Señora del Pilar Integrated School, SDO City of San Fernando, Pampanga. Good morning po, Ma'am Rosana Montealto Lacson. Good morning din po. Hello po sa ating Mulanay Central Elementary School Division of Quezon, Ma'am Marivic Espinosa Rogel. Good morning po. And isa na lang po, amazing morning, watching from Tinajero National High School Annex, SDO Pampanga. Naka-hashtag na agad sila ng NSCM Week 3. Good morning sa iyo, Sir Olalio Jadrin J. Ayan, how about you, Ma'am Vec?
Okay, yes, ma'am. So there you go. So let me see. So, good morning po, watching from Gingoog City. Okay, and who's that? Ang bilis po. Okay, shout out from SDO Quezon City, Lagros Senior High School, Mr. John Reb Biso. We also have here Miss Abreline Bulawin. Good morning po sa lahat from SDO Makati Fort Bonifacio High School. So, with her hashtag NSCM Week 3. So, moving on, ma'am, to our recapitulation.
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Vic. Talagang na-overwhelmed tayo sa dami ng mga messages and comments na binigay natin. Later on po mamaya, magbabasa pa uli kami ng shoutouts namin. Of course, without further ado, it's been a pleasure. Yan. Habang sinishare po ni Ma'am Vic ang ating PowerPoint. So it's been a pleasure having Ma'am Marivic C. Miranda, my partner today, no, of Antonio Luna High School, the SDO Caloocan, as our resource speaker po for her topic last week, creating interactive activities using a whiteboard.5. So she shared with us on how to use the whiteboard.5 with the different activities that we can integrate in the lesson delivery, such as motivation part, the development of the lesson, generalization, and of course, even the evaluation. So indeed, the educational tool that she presented is a user-friendly, and it is very evident that our teacher participants managed to manipulate the tools on the whiteboard.5. Talaga excited po sila. Very participative ang ating mga webinar participants as I still remember noon last week. And of course, as you can see, may recap po tayo dito yung ating mga nag-message no, sa ating of course, while ongoing po ang ating webinar, ang dami po nating message. Of course, from Ma'am Leia Pacudan. Thank you, Ma'am Marivic Miranda, for sharing your expertise on whiteboard.5. It is really helpful to us science teachers. Hello, Ma'am Leia Pacudan. I hope you're still watching po ngayon sa ating week 3 po. And of course, from Ma'am Mildred Parco, ang message po niya kay Ma'am Vic. Thank you so much, Ma'am Marivic, for sharing your knowledge and expertise. Ayan, maraming pong salamat. Meron pa tayo dito, hashtag mahusay. Yes, Ma'am Vic?
Ma'am.
Okay, ayan.
Okay, the second resource speaker is from Manuel, last week, is from Manuel Luis Quezon Elementary School, of course, from SDO Caloocan. Ma'am Miriam M. Suprimido, my co-host. So she discussed with us the development of electronic strategic intervention material for least mastered skills. Embedded on it are the parts of the eSIM. These are the title card, objective, guide, activity, assessment, enrichment, answer, and reference card. She even showed us her own masterpiece using the application of Active Inspire. So let's take a look at some of the screenshots about the comments of selected webinar participants. So there you go, from Ma'am Diaz Gar. She mentioned that, thank you, Ma'am Miriam Suprimido, nakaka-inspired naman po ang presentation nyo. And then another one from Karen De La Torre, Miss Karen De La Torre Trilliana. She commented, "Thank you for sharing your expertise, dear resource speakers." So there you go. Those are the comments last week from our dear webinar participants. Okay. Miriam.
Thank you, Ma'am Vic. Talagang marami sumuporta. Sana po ngayon, don't forget po ulit to share our webinar sessions po. Parang mas marami pa pong makanood sa atin. Ayan. And of course, at this point, we would like to introduce our first resource speaker for this webinar session. Okay, with his topic, Reaching for the Stars. The Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, model of an astronomy club. He has been in the field of education for more than 3 decades with stints in the secondary and tertiary levels. So he has finished his Master's of Science in Teaching Biology, major in education at De La Salle University, and Master of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management at St. Francis of Assisi College. And he is pursuing his doctorate degree at Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila. He is currently connected, of course, at PLM College of Science, teaching subjects such as anatomy, physiology, zoology, microbiology, plant physiology, and cell biology. And he teaches also at San Beda University, Manila, at senior high school. Aside from being a biology, life science professor, he is greatly involved in astronomy, being one of the board of directors of the Philippines Astronomical Society and a core member of the Manila Streets Astronomers. As an astronomy enthusiast, he conducts lectures on astrobiology and planetary science to different schools and universities in Metro Manila. He was the founder of the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, an astronomy organization of San Beda University, Manila, in senior high school, and the Skywatcher Society of Las Piñas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pride and honor to present to you our first speaker for this morning, Professor Pablo Jun Cahigal.
Hello, greetings at magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. This is Professor Jun Cahigal from San Beda University, Manila. And bago po tayo magsimula sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito, konting kwento po muna ako. So just bear with me and I would like to share the story of my childhood. So nung bata po ako, talagang hilig ko na talagang tumingin sa kalawakan. In fact, gabi-gabi po, umakyat po ako sa bubong ng bahay namin. Dala ko po yung aking unan at banig. Ihiga lang po ako dyan sa bubong. At titingin lang po sa kalawakan. Gusto ko po talagang tignan yung mga stars, yung mga constellations, yung buwan, at kung saswertehin yung mga shooting stars. And because of that, napapagalitan po ko araw-araw ng aking mga magulang, napapalo, nahahangir, at napagsasabihan na baka nasisira na po ako ng bait dahil gabi-gabi po ako umakyat ng bubong ng aming bahay at nasisira ko na po yung yero ng bubong po ng aming bahay. So ganyan po ako kahilig po na tumingin sa kalawakan. In fact, gusto ko talaga po maging astronaut nung bata po ko. Gusto ko na po talagang maging astronaut noon. Kaya lang, imposible po. So yung second choice ko po, gusto ko talaga maging astronomer. Kaya lang, nung panahon na yan, walang kolehiyo or walang institution that offers BS Astronomy. Unlike po ngayon, di ba? So alam natin na ang Rizal Technological University and I think New Era College, they offer BS Astronomy. Nung panahon namin, wala po. So, ang second choice ko po para sa aking college education, I took up BS Zoology kasi mahilig din po ako sa life sciences. And I took my master's in biology teaching at natapos ko din yun. So even though na naging biologist ako, naging biology teacher, biology professor, still hindi po nawala yung passion of looking up at the night sky and to study the heavens. And when I entered San Beda University, Manila, doon ko po binuhos yung passion na yan when I formed the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. So bago po tayo magpatuloy sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito, let's watch this short video about the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Okay po, let's watch this. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our short video presentation of what the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers or BSYA is. So bago po tayo magpatuloy sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito, gusto ko po munang malaman kung kayo po ay gising na gising at buhay na buhay ngayong araw na ito. So mag-heart react po kayo or mag-thumbs up para malaman ko naman kung kayo po ay gising na gising at buhay na buhay ngayong araw na ito. So ayan po, maraming salamat po. And ituloy lang po natin ang ating kwentuhan about my talk for today. So my talk is Reaching for the Stars, the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, a model of an astronomy club. So ito po yung aming logo and ang aming motto ay Keep Reaching for the Stars. So ano nga ba itong Bedan Society of Young Astronomers anyway? Now, BSYA or the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers at San Beda University, Manila consists of a group of students who are interested in exploring the universe. So medyo unlikely po itong aming organization, medyo na out of place ang BSYA. Kasi po ang San Beda University ay mas kilala sa kanyang College of Law. So alam niyo naman po na ang ating presidente ay graduate sa San Beda. And ang San Beda po ay kilala din sa kanyang accountancy. So mas sikat po ang San Beda dyan. So it is unlikely that San Beda will organize a science organization like a BSYA. Ngayon, sino po ang mga members nito, itong Bedan Society of Young Astronomers anyway? Now, the students, they don't have to be enrolled in the STEM strand or astronomy class to become a member. Kasi po 'di ba sa senior high school may mga strands po 'yan. And baka ang impression po ng karamihan ay mga STEM lang, yung science, technology, engineering students ang pwedeng maging member nito. So hindi naman po kailangan. Basta meron lang silang genuine interest in the cosmos, space travel, or kung gusto lang po nila mag-stargaze. Yan, yun na po yung requirement para maging member ng BSYA. Now, in fact, magugulat po kayo that karamihan po sa mga members ng BSYA ay hindi STEM students, kundi mga HUMS and ABM students. So, ganyan po kainteresado ang mga Bedans sa cosmos, space travel, and gusto din po nila talagang mag-stargazing. That's why they joined the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. And our prime directive here in BSYA is to promote the sciences, especially astronomy, to the Bedan community kasi 'di ba kilala po ang San Beda sa College of Law, accountancy. So gusto din po namin ma-introduce sa Bedan community ang siyensya at ang ganda ng kalawakan. Yan po. And gusto din po namin i-share yung aming passion for reaching for the stars sa publiko. So that's our prime directive, to promote the sciences, especially astronomy, to the Bedan community and to the general public. So that's our prime directive. Now, paano ba nagsimula ang BSYA? Now, in setting up an astronomy club like the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, the first step is to understand what kind of club you want to start. Ngayon po, ladies and gentlemen, I can still remember the year. The year was 2016. And nung panahon na yan, binigyan po ko ng subject na Earth Science. And alam niyo naman po, ang Earth Science may mga astronomy topics po dyan. And binigay todo ko po ang aking pagtuturo ng Earth Science dahil yun po yung passion ko sa astronomy. Talagang gusto ko pong ituro yung astronomy at binigay todo ko ang aking pagtuturo ng astronomiya. And may na-inspire po ko na estudyante na si Miss Angelica Tang. So, si Miss Angelica Tang po ay isang ABM student, hindi po siya STEM, but isa siyang ABM student. And nilapitan niya ako one time. Sabi niya, "Sir, baka gusto niyo po mag-organize ng isang astronomy club dito po sa San Beda." At kinulit-kulit niya ako. At dyan po nag-umpisa ang Vedan Society of Young Astronomers. So siya po ang aking unang presidente, si Miss Angelica Tang. At siya rin po ang aking co-founder dito po sa Vedan Society of Young Astronomers. At ito po yung kauna-unahang club recruitment namin. Ngayon kinakabahan po ako kasi baka konti lang po yung sumali ng BSYA being a science organization. Baka konti lang po yung sumali. Pero nagulat po kami during that club recruitment day. Ay dinumog po kami at pinutakti po kami ng mga Vedan students na gustong sumali sa BSYA. So at the end of the club recruitment day, naka 100 plus members po kami. So ganun pala kahilig ang mga Vedan sa astronomiya at stargazing. So dyan po nagsimula ang BSYA. Ngayon po sa dami ng mga nagpa-sign up na mga Vedans during that club recruitment day, gusto din po naming masala yung mga potential members. So ang tinatanong po namin sa kanila, doon po nagpa-sign up sa BSYA is, why join an astronomy club like the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers? So ito po yung karaniwang sagot po nila. So kaya daw sila sumali sa BSYA is because they want to learn about amateur astronomy and observing techniques. Ang BSYA daw ay isang way para matuto sila on how to observe the heavens. Kasi po ang BSYA ay magbibigay po sa kanila ng training and opportunity. Kaya sumali sila sa BSYA. And ladies and gentlemen, kaya sila sumali daw sa BSYA, it's because they want to interface with others who share interest in the field of astronomy. And the best way to learn about observing the heavens is to do it with the aid of a more experienced observer. Medyo involved na rin po ako sa astronomy, so gusto po talaga nilang ma-experience yung pag-observe ng kalawakan and ma-share din nila yung interest po nila sa ibang tao. Ngayon po, ladies and gentlemen, para mabigay ko din po yung gusto ng mga sumali sa BSYA, I realized that I have to tie up with other organizations related sa astronomy dahil aminin ko po, hindi naman po ako talaga astronomy graduate. Yung aking education ay hindi talaga astronomy. I'm a biologist. I'm a biology educator. Hindi naman po ako astronomy professor. So I have to tie up with other organizations para matrain din po ako at mabigay ko po yung gusto ng mga sumali sa BSYA. So I decided to tie up with the Philippine Astronomical Society. At naging kaibigan ko po sila at magagaling ang mga members ng Philippine Astronomical Society. At marami po akong natutunan sa kanila. And I also tied up with the Manila Street Astronomers and naging core member din po ako ng Manila Street Astronomers. Ang ginagawa po ng MSA or Manila Street Astronomers, they conduct public telescope viewing sa malls, sa mga parks kung saan maraming tao. And we bring the telescope to the general public dito sa Manila Street Astronomers. So yun ang pong aming tie-up with PAS or the Philippine Astronomical Society, in which naging board of directors din po ko dyan and naging core member po ko ng Manila Street Astronomers. Ngayon po ang aming collaborations with those organization are as follows. So nagkaroon po kami ng kauna-unahang symposium with PAS or Philippine Astronomical Society with Sir Camilo Dacanay being our guest speaker dun sa aming kauna-unahang symposium. So ayun po si Sir Dacanay. So naging kaibigan ko po si Sir Camilo Dacanay and together with Sir Hernan Dizon and some of the officers of the Philippine Astronomical Society. At marami po akong natutunan sa kanila at ako'y nagpapasalamat that I became involved with the Philippine Astronomical Society. So ito po yung kauna-unahang collaboration namin with PAS. So talagang very memorable po itong event na ito. And dito din sa San Beda, ginawa yung 24th National Astronomy Week noong 2017. At talagang proud na proud po ako at dito sa San Beda ginawa yung 24th National Astronomy Week celebration noong 2017. That was February 11 to 18, 2017 with the theme Technology as a Tool in Understanding Life in the Universe. So proud po ko dito sa collaboration namin with the Philippine Astronomical Society. At dito rin po ginawa yung Astro Quiz na sinalihan ng mga estudyante nationwide ang Astro Quiz na ito. At ako talagang namamangha at very memorable po itong event na ito, itong Astro Quiz na ito. So mga estudyante from all over the Philippines went to San Beda University para sumali dito sa Astro Quiz na ito in celebration of the National Astronomy Week noong 2017. So ayan po, ladies and gentlemen, that's our collaboration with the Philippine Astronomical Society in celebration of the National Astronomy Week 2017. Very memorable talaga itong event na ito. Hindi ko po makakalimutan ito. And with this, alam na po namin yung aming direction to promote the sciences, especially astronomy, to the general public. Very memorable talaga itong kauna-unahang celebration ng San Beda ng National Astronomy Week 2017. At dinaluhan po ito ng faculty members and students nationwide. At dinumog po ang aming school. Kala ko nga magkakaroon na ng security problems dito sa San Beda. Pero maayos naman po yung aming organization and hosting ng event na ito. So yan po yung National Astronomy Week 2017 at tuloy-tuloy na po yan. Dito po sa San Beda, ginawa ang NOW or National Astronomy Week 2018, 2019 hanggang 2020. So ayan po yung aming celebration ng National Astronomy Week. And also, habang sineselebrate po namin yan, nagkaroon din po kami ng rocket exhibit dito sa San Beda. So ito yung mga different rocket models na in-exhibit po namin dito sa San Beda. At dinumog po yan ng mga estudyante nationwide featuring the different rockets made by different countries like the US, Russia, France, even Japan. So ayan po yung aming rocket exhibit dito sa San Beda in the celebration of the National Astronomy Week. So ladies and gentlemen, hindi lang po National Astronomy Week ang aming collaboration with the Philippine Astronomical Society. So nagkaroon po din kami ng mga monthly lecture series at yan po ay ginawa dito sa San Beda. Like itong monthly lecture series entitled Beyond. And nagkaroon po ako ng chance to share my expertise in astrobiology. So being a biology professor, a biology educator, kinumbine ko po yung aking passion for astronomy and my love for biology. Nagkaroon po kami ng talk about astrobiology or life beyond Earth dito po sa monthly lecture series entitled Beyond. And nagbigay din po ng talk si Sir Camilo Dacanay, yung chairman of the board ng PAS. So ayan po yung Beyond lecture series po namin at ginawa dito yan sa San Beda, hosted by the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. So naging tuloy-tuloy na po yan. Naging monthly po yung aming lecture series dito po sa San Beda. Like this lecture entitled Invisible: Introduction to Radio Astronomy, How to View an Invisible Universe. So na-invite po namin si Mr. Richel Masong and si Mr. Christopher Lu ng Manila Street Astronomers. And ayan po, so that's Mr. Christopher Lu na hawak-hawak po kanyang certificate. And kasama po namin dyan si Sir Hernandizon at si Edmond Rosales. Kung kilala niyo po si Sir Edmond Rosales na nasa Channel 4. So ayan po yung aming Invisible Lecture Series. And ito naman po, Secrets of Mars. Kasama po namin dyan yung founder ng Manila Street Astronomers na si Mr. Gary Andreasen. And ladies and gentlemen, proud na proud po ako dito. In partnership with the Philippine Astronomical Society, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 lunar landing. Again, this is in partnership with the Philippine Astronomical Society. At proud na proud po ako dito sa celebration ng Apollo 11 landing because faculty members and students nationwide attended the celebration of the Apollo 11 lunar landing 50th anniversary dito po sa San Beda, at dinumog at pinutakte ang San Beda University ng mga faculty members and students. Nationwide po ito. And talagang proud na proud po ako dito sa celebration namin na ito. Dinumog po yung aming venue. Ang daming tao po. Nationwide po ito, ladies and gentlemen. The Bedan Society of Young Astronomers hosted and sponsored this celebration of the Apollo 11 lunar landing 50th anniversary. And we are proud na si Sir Edmond Rosales, ang isa sa mga guest speakers po namin. Edmond Rosales is one of the pillars of Philippine astronomy. So we are really proud na we have him as our guest speaker in celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo lunar landing. So ayan po yung aming collaboration with the Philippine Astronomical Society. So ayan po, ladies and gentlemen, that's our collaboration with the Philippine Astronomical Society. And I'm really proud to be a part of PAS. So naging board member din po ako ng Philippine Astronomical Society. Diyan po talaga magaling ang PAS. Magaling po sila sa mga lectures about astronomy, space sciences. At nahuhubog po ako ng PAS to be one of the lecturers din ng Philippine Astronomical Society. So I'm really proud to be a board member ng PAS. Ngayon po ang pangalawang aspeto kung bakit sumali ang mga Bedans dito sa aming organization, yung Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, they wanted to observe the heavens at first hand. They wanted to do stargazing. So, ayan po din ang ginawa namin dito sa Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Aside from listening to lectures na binibigay namin together with PAS, we also observe the heavens through our stargazing activities and free telescope viewings. Ito naman po yung aming collaboration with the Manila Street Astronomers. So ladies and gentlemen, siguro bago po tayo magpatuloy sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito, sana buhay na buhay kayo at gising na gising pa. So mag-react po kayo, mag-heart react po kayo or mag-thumbs up kung buhay na buhay pa po kayo or gising na gising. Sana gising na gising pa po kayo sa pakikinig po sa aking kwento about our organization setting up an astronomy club, the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Ngayon po kung may mga katanungan kayo, just type in your questions in our chat box. And mamaya po sasagutin po natin yung mga questions na yan after this talk. And kung gusto niyo magtanong at first hand, mag-unmute na po kayo later ng inyong mga microphone para sa inyong mga katanungan. Okay po, so ituloy po natin ang ating kwentuhan about setting up an astronomy club like the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. So nagkaroon po kami ng mga collaborations kasi aminin po natin, hindi naman po ako talaga trained sa astronomy kasi I am a biology educator. Pero ang hilig ko po talaga is the heavens, astronomy. So I have to collaborate sa mga eksperto like the Philippine Astronomical Society through their lectures. Ayan po dyan, magaling ang PAS. Then ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit sumali ang Bedan sa BSYA kasi gusto po nilang mag-stargazing. They wanted to observe the heavens. So nag-conduct po kami ng mga stargazing activities sa BSYA and free public telescope viewing sa mga malls, sa mga parks kung saan maraming tao. And that's our advocacy to promote astronomy not only to the Bedan community but to the general public through our stargazing activities and free telescope viewings. So ngayon, ladies and gentlemen, swerte lang po ako at nag-invest lang po ako ng mga telescope nung nagkatrabaho po ako. So ayan po, bumili po ako ng mga telescopes para magampanan po namin itong stargazing and mga free telescope viewings. Pero hindi naman po branded yung mga nabili kong telescope, yung mga second hand lang po sa Japan surplus at inayos ko po yung mga telescopes na yan. And I'm really proud na yung mga telescopes ko po ay talagang very sharp yung pinoproduce nilang images of the moon and even the planets. So later po, ladies and gentlemen, I will give you a short workshop about the telescope. Yan, para alam niyo po yung mga different parts ng telescope na ginagamit po namin dito sa Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Ayan po, so antabayanan po natin yan mamaya yung short workshop na yan about the telescope. So with the investments of second-hand telescopes from Japan surplus shops, and refurbishing them to make them 100% effective, I started doing overnight stargazing and solar observation activities starting at our home base at San Beda University, Manila. And nakakagulat lang kasi maraming mga Bedan students ang sumasali sa aming stargazing activities. And minsan bago sila matulog, hindi lang stargazing ang ginagawa nila, nag-ghost hunting pa sila sa loob ng San Beda University, Manila. So talagang masaya yung mga stargazing activities namin. And also nagko-conduct din po kami ng mga solar observation activities sa San Beda University, Manila, wherein I would equip my telescope with a solar filter. So later in our workshop, I will teach you on how to observe the sun safely so that you would appreciate the beauty of our own sun. So di ba exciting po yan, ladies and gentlemen? Alright, so we conduct solar observation activities at San Beda University, Manila. And also, I was given the opportunity to conduct those same activities, stargazing and solar session activities at our sister school, San Beda, Rizal, sa may Taytay. And yan, so dinadala ko po yung mga telescopes namin with my team, my Bedan Society of Young Astronomers team, and doon po kami nag-stargazing and solar observation activities sa San Beda, Rizal. So just the same, maraming mga Bedan students from San Beda, Rizal ang sumasali sa aming mga stargazing and solar observation activities in that school. So nakakataba lang talaga ng puso na malaman na maraming mga estudyante talaga ang interesado sa astronomiya. And I was given also the opportunity to be invited as facilitator sa mga stargazing and solar observation activities in other schools. Like I was invited to facilitate a stargazing activity dito sa Marymount School sa Quezon City. So I brought my telescopes and my team dito sa Marymount School at Quezon City. So nakakataba ng puso dahil yung mga bata talagang very interested sila sa astronomy. Ayan, at talagang dinumog po kami ng mga estudyante dito sa Marymount School of Quezon City. So nag-stargazing activity po kami, overnight stargazing activity in that school. And also, we were invited also to facilitate stargazing activities sa San Beda College, Alabang. So ayan po, nandun po kami sa open field, sa football field ng San Beda College, Alabang. At doon po kami nag-stargazing. So dinadala ko po yung mga telescopes ko. So nakikita niyo yung mga telescopes ko na malalaki. And I have my team with me to assist me sa aming mga stargazing activities dito sa San Beda College, Alabang. So kumalat na po yung balita that BSYA was conducting stargazing and solar observation activities. So BSYA was invited to conduct a stargazing activity sa University of Santo Tomas. So nagkaroon po kami ng stargazing activity sa UST. Yan po. So I think that's February, parang Valentine celebration po yan ng UST. So may pa-concert. And at the same time, nagkaroon po ng stargazing activity while the concert is ongoing. So just the same, dinumog po kami ng mga students sa UST. And also, I have with me some of the members of the Manila Sect Astronomers to help me out. Kasi sa dami po ng estudyante ay hindi namin kaya, yung team ko sa BSOY ay hindi namin makakaya sa dami ng estudyante sa UST. So members of the Manila Street Astronomers came to help me out in this stargazing activity. So yun po yung mga telescopes na ginamit namin sa event na yan at UST. And I was also invited together with my BSYA team to conduct a stargazing activity at St. Edward's School sa Imus, Cavite. And I was given also an invitation to conduct a lecture about the secrets of Mars. So ayan po, ito yung sa St. Edward's School sa Imus, Cavite, and we conducted a stargazing activity in that school. And so those were some of our stargazing and solar observation activities in the different schools aside from San Beda University, Manila. And hopefully, pag natapos na itong pandemya na ito, I hope I would be given also the chance to bring the telescope sa inyong mga schools po, ladies and gentlemen. So sana makabalik na tayo sa ating normal na pamumuhay, and we can conduct stargazing activities sa inyong respective schools po. And your students would enjoy the beauty of the heavens. Now, aside from conducting stargazing and solar observation activities in the different schools here in Metro Manila, we also conduct free public telescope viewings at malls, parks, kung saan maraming tao. So we conduct these free public telescope viewings at Robinson's Place. Yung aming home base dyan ay sa Las Piñas. Madalas po kami dyan mag-conduct ng free public telescope viewing sa Robinson's Place, Las Piñas, sa SM South Mall, sa SM Parañaque. And lately, bago pumutok tong pandemya, nagkaroon din po kami ng free public telescope viewings dito sa Cartilla ng Katipunan, courtesy of Mayor Isko Moreno. And sa Luneta Park, ilang beses din po kami nagkaroon ng free public telescope viewings sa Luneta Park. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to emphasize yung katagang free So we conduct these public telescope viewings na walang bayad. Hindi po yung ₱5 kada silip sa aming mga telescopes. So lahat po ng aming mga public telescope viewings ay libre para maka-invite po kami at ma-inspire namin ang mga tao, lalo na yung mga kabataan, na maging mahilig sa astronomiya. And that is our advocacy. We bring the telescope to the public so that they would appreciate the beauty of the heavens. So lahat ng aming mga public telescope viewings ay libre. And madalas po kami sa Robinson's Place, Las Piñas. Yan, so I would bring my big telescopes and together with my team, nagko-conduct po kami ng mga free public telescope viewings sa Robinson's Place, Las Piñas. At talagang dinudumog po kami ng mga mall goers, ng mga shoppers dito sa Robinson's Place, Las Piñas. We also conduct free public telescope viewings at SM South Mall, again dito din sa Las Piñas. So yan to yung mga photos namin sa SM South Mall at talagang dinudumog po kami ng mga tao dyan, yung mga shoppers, mga mall goers. At nakakataba lang po dahil pag nakikita niyo po yung mga ngiti nila na namamangha sila pag sumisilip sila sa aming eyepiece ng telescope, namamangha sila sa buwan, sa mga planeta na nakikita nila sa telescopes namin. So yun po yung aming mga free public telescope viewings at SM South Mall. And makikita nyo talaga yung mga ngiti ng mga tao, lalong-lalo na yung mga bata. Pag nakikita nila yung mga craters ng buwan, and yung rings ng Saturn, and yung 4 na moons ng Jupiter. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those were some of our free public telescope viewings conducted and facilitated by the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Sayang nga lang, ladies and gentlemen, that we cannot do any more of these public telescope viewing activities because of the threat of the COVID-19 virus. So the best thing that we can do para matuloy po namin ito yung mga ganitong gawain and para matuloy po yung aming advocacy to bring the telescope to the public is that we conduct online telescope viewing. So mamaya po in our webinar, ipaliliwanag ko po kung paano namin ginagawa itong online telescope viewings. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present a short video about yung aming mga ginagawang free public telescope viewings sa Kartilya ng Katipunan courtesy of Mayor Isko Moreno para malaman niyo po kung how we conduct a free public telescope viewing sa isang public place like the Kartilya ng Katipunan. So sana gising na gising pa kayo at buhay na buhay sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito. So everybody, let's watch this.
Good evening po. Ano po meron tayo dito ngayon, ma'am?
Ano po, free public telescope view.
Ayun din eh.
Senior high school pa lang
Free
po
public.
kami. Group, club po namin. Sa ano po kami nag-start? Sa San Beda po.
San Beda.
Recently no lang po siya, mga 4 years ago lang po. So, yan po yung ginagawa namin ngayon. Actually, later this early morning po, meron po pre-number eclipse. So, last babalik po ata dito yung moderator namin, Sir Jun. Sadly, wala po kami. Pero, later po ni Sir Jun. Pero at this moment po, yung full moon po ma-observe. Yes po, it's in all its peak and brightness. So, you can take a picture of it right now. It's very easy. You can try po the telescope.
Sige, tatry namin. Free lang, di ba?
It's free. You can take a picture of it. Yeah.
So yun mga kababayan, mga kaibigan, may libre po tayong telescope dito para tingnan yung ano. Abot pa yan sa ano? Sa buwan? Kita talaga yung ano?
Yung telescope po namin, ang specialty po talaga niya is moon view.
Yung taong naglalakad doon, kita ba?
Ay! Hindi na po. Months na po
Baka yung forever mo bro, nandun.
Sa telescope. Try po natin.
Ayan.
Free telescope viewing! Isa pa.
Again.
1, 2, Free telescope viewing! Once again, free telescope viewing! You can take a picture of the moon in all its detail and glory for free! Once again, free telescope viewing!
So ayan guys, libre daw. So try nga natin yung ano nila. Telescope viewing dito. Ayan, marami tayong mga estudyante dito. Marami tayong mga kababayan dito na ayun, pakikita ko sa iyo yung ano, yung buwan natin sa ilalim ng puting ilaw. Ayan. So, ang laki po ng buwan natin ngayon, full moon yata. So ayun, madami tayong mga kababayan nag-view. Paano ba yun? Ganyan pala. Kitang-kita talaga. Teka, pipicture ko na yung sisilip ka lang po. Huwag na lang po.
Ang OA mo naman ngayon. Pag-picture tayo after.
Check ko lang.
Gusto mo ba ang yun?
Libre yung silip. Ay. Pila. Ang galing naman. Ano yung mga analysis natin na maaari na influence yung Newton? Ano yung nagsabi nito? Third law, yung may mag-influence na para mangyari kayo ang sasabi o di contrario.
Alipin na makawala talaga yung buwan.
Sino huwagin yan?
Hindi. Hindi talaga. Nakapaba. Diba? Ayos na lang po ng pila.
Basket talaga sa kamay? Una sa lahat, mag-influence yung ngayon,
Tama na. Di ba?
hindi kung sa inyo. So yan po yung buwan natin guys. Super lucky po siya.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So sana na-enjoy nyo yung video na yan. So that's how we conduct our free public telescope viewings, lalong-lalo na po sa kartilya ng Katipunan. And I would like to emphasize po na libre po yan. Hindi po yan 5 piso kada silip. So libre yan, walang bayad yan. So that we would inspire the people, we would inspire the young to be engaged in astronomy. And ako po ay nagpapasalamat kay Mayor Isko Moreno that he gave us that opportunity to conduct free public telescope viewings at the kartilya ng Katipunan near Manila City Hall. Ngayon po, ladies and gentlemen, aside from our stargazing, solar session activities, and our free public telescope viewings, ang inihintay pa namin dito sa Bedan Society of Young Astronomers ay yung mga iba't ibang astronomical events. And one significant astronomical event na talagang hindi ko po talaga makalimutan ay yung nagkaroon ng super moon, blood moon event. Ito po yung total lunar eclipse last January 31 of 2018. So ano to, talagang worldwide ito, talagang hinihintay ko ng buong mundo. And BSYA collaborated with PASS and the Manila Street Astronomers para makonduct po namin ito. And yung buong street ng Menjola, yung Menjola Street na yan, talagang sanarado pa namin yan with the help of the PNP para makonduct namin itong super moon, blood moon event. And Menjola became an observation station, and the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers facilitated that observation station of the super moon, blood moon event. So talagang sinarado po yung buong street ng Menjola, parang may rally po. So ayan po, at dinumog po kami ng mga tao, mga estudyante, mga magulang, mga guro, mga professors dyan sa U-Belt. And yung pila po, talagang abot hanggang UE na sa sobrang dami ng tao. At ilan lang po yung telescopes namin, lilima lang. So talagang hirap na hirap po kami pero at the same time, talagang tumataba po yung puso namin. Maraming tao ang talagang interesado rin sa astronomiya. So ayan po yung aming Super Moon Blood Moon event. At nabulabog pa rin namin pati yung mga kaparian dyan sa San Beda University. So pinuntahan pa nila po kami at nakisili po yung mga yan sa aming telescopes during that Super Moon Blood Moon event. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Super Moon Blood Moon event in which the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers facilitated at Menjola Street in Manila. Now, another astronomical event na talagang memorable po sa amin ay yung solar eclipse that occurred last December 26 of 2019. And talagang inantabayanan to ng mga astronomers, mga scientists worldwide. In fact, yung Philippine Astronomical Society nagpunta pa ho sa Mindanao kasi nandun po yung sentro ng solar eclipse. Kami naman po sa BSY, hindi namin po kayang pumunta sa Mindanao. Wala po kaming pera noon. So, we just settled at Cartilla ng Katipunan near Manila City Hall. And we would like to thank Mayor Isko Moreno for allowing us to use the Cartilla ng Katipunan as the observation station dito sa part ng Metro Manila. And dinumog po kami ng maraming tao since that's December 26. So maraming tao sa mga public places like Luneta and itong Cartilla ng Katipunan. At pinilahan po kami ng maraming tao. Pinilahan po yung mga telescopes namin that are equipped with solar filters. And ang media po nandun din like Philippine Star, Manila Bulletin, and GMA7. In fact po, nandyan po si Oscar Oida, isa sa mga reporters ng GMA. Ayan po, nakikita niyo sa ating photo at nakisilip po sa aming telescopes. And he was able to witness the grandeur of that solar eclipse. And yan po, na-media po tayo and we were featured at 24 oras sa GMA7. Alright, so let's watch this short video, yung aming media coverage dyan sa solar eclipse na yan that was held at the Cartilla ng Katipunan in Manila. So again, thank you Mayor Isko Moreno for allowing us to use the place as the observation station for that rare astronomical event. So ladies and gentlemen, let's watch this.
Inabangan din po yung annular solar eclipse sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas pati na sa ibang bansa. Mula sa mga high-tech na mga telescope hanggang sa simpleng palanggana at tubig ay para-paraan na marami para lang masaksiyan ang pambihirang palabas ng kalangitan. Nakatutok si Oscar Oida.
Daig pa nang tumabo sa takilya ang public solar eclipse viewing na ito ng Bedan Society of Young Astronomers ng pilahan ng gusto ng mga kabataan dito sa may Cartilla ng Katipunan sa lungsod ng Maynila. Gamit ang mga gadget gaya ng reflector telescope, nasaksiyan nila ang pagtakip ng buwan sa araw.
Para po siyang bangka. A white banana.
This is a rare opportunity for us to witness this astronomical event. Kasi bihira lang po talaga ito.
Pero di gaya ng sa Mindanao, partial solar eclipse lang ang nasaksihan ng mga nasa Manila. Pero malaking bagay na raw na ito'y kanilang masaksihan. Sulit ba yung pinila mo?
Sulit.
Kind of, this eclipse is 2063 pa, so baka hindi na namin niya abutan. So this event was very significant.
Sa Pag-asa Astronomical Observatory sa Quezon City, ang higanting telescope na ito ang gamit para masilip ang eclipse. Dito na silayan ng mga astronomer ang araw na mistulang may kagat dahil sa pagtakip ng buwan. Pero dito naman sa may Raha Sulaiman Park, hindi kailangan ng mga high-tech na teleskopyo Palangganang nilagyan lang ng tubig ang naging diskarte ni Mang George para kahit papano masilayan ng ilang bata dito ang pinakaaabangang eclipse.
Kasi hindi naman kaya ng mga batang tignan sa taas yan. Sa konting bagay lang na tubig at palanggana lang, dito kahit papano, ma-share ko yung makikita ko at makikita nila.
Di man ganun kalinaw, kita pa rin kung paano tumakip ang buwan sa araw.
Ano? Ito, uyo.
Ayon sa mga eksperto, masama sa ating mga mata kung direktang pagmamastan ang solar eclipse. Ito'y kahit pa may gamit na x-ray film. Pero di pa rin napigilan ng ilan kanina na gawin ito. Gumamit ng mga camera at cellphone, masaksihan lang ang pagtago ng araw sa buwan. Ganyan din ang ginawang diskarte ng mga taga-Tagbilaran, Bohol. Ang ating mga newscooper, kanya-kanya ring bida ng kanilang solar eclipse sightings mula Cavite, Tagaytay, Rizal, Pampanga, Bulacan at ilang bahagi ng Metro Manila. Maging sa ibang bansa, nagpakita ang eclipse. Ang kumpletong Ring of Fire na silayan sa Saudi Arabia at United Arab Emirates.
That's the solar eclipse.
Sa Al-Asa, marami ang nag-abang sa pambihirang pagkakataon. May mga nag-set up ng telescope pero namang nanood lang gamit ang kanilang cellphone. Nagpamangha rin ang naturang phenomenon sa Malaysia, pati na sa Singapore. Oscar Oida, nakatutok, 24 oras.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers observed the heavens. So using our telescopes, we had that chance and the opportunity to observe the night sky. So we conduct stargazing activities and solar observation activities at San Beda University, Manila. And using our telescopes, we also conduct stargazing and solar observation activities in the different schools here in Metro Manila. And also using the telescope, we had that chance and the opportunity to observe those rare astronomical events like the supermoon blood moon event and that solar eclipse that occurred last December 26 of 2019. So that's how BSYA observed the heavens. And later, ladies and gentlemen, I will be introducing the telescope to you. I'll be giving you a short workshop about the telescope. So isn't that exciting? So kung excited po kayo, ladies and gentlemen, mag-heart react po kayo para alam ko din na buhay kayo at gising na gising sa ating webinar ngayong araw na ito. So before we proceed to the telescope workshop, siguro kailangan ko din banggitin isa sa mga major activities ng BSYA, and that is Rock the Stars. Ang Rock the Stars ay parang Astro-concert po yan. So we feature the talents of the Bedan musicians and the Bedan Harmony. Ito yung mga musical clubs ng San Beda University. So we feature their talents, and in between their performances, meron po kaming sinisingit ng mga astronomy trivia or a short talk about astronomy. So kaya tinawag namin na Rock the Stars yan. So we feature the talents of our Bedan musicians and the Bedan Harmony. So in between their performances, members of BSYA will do some trivia about the moon, the stars, and the planets. So that's why we called it Rock the Stars. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is our Astro-concert called Rock the Stars, featuring the talents of the Bedan musicians, the Bedan Harmony, and astronomy trivia by the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. All right, so at this point, let us now proceed to our telescope workshop. So I'm sure excited na kayo dito sa portion ng ating webinar. Now, this telescope workshop is very important sa BSYA. So ang isang member ng BSYA dapat makuha nila yung skills in assembling and manipulating the telescope. So nagbibigay po ako ng training sa pagmamanipulate, paggamit, pag-assemble ng telescope before we proceed to our activities like stargazing or public telescope viewing. So talagang very important itong training na to sa BSYA so that they can really achieve that sharp image sa telescope at ma-appreciate nila yung mga images pag sumilip sila sa eyepiece ng telescope. So very important netong training na to sa mga members ng BSYA. And I'm sure you're all excited because I will be introducing the telescope to you, ladies and gentlemen. So are you ready? So fasten your seat belts, ladies and gentlemen, and let us now proceed to our guided tour of the telescope. Okay, the telescope is a device like this one that allows us to observe distant objects. So we can say that the telescope is an extension of the human eye. Okay, the human eye is very limited. The human eye cannot perceive very far objects or distant objects. Now, the telescope allows us to observe distant objects. So, pretty much like an extension of the human eye. Okay, the first telescope was made by Hans Lippershey at Galileo. It was Hans Lippershey that came up with the first telescope. Okay, then Galileo got heard of this new device, so he made one for himself. And it was Galileo that pointed the telescope towards the sky. And because of his observations using the telescope, Galileo was the first to observe the moons of Jupiter, the 4 moons of Jupiter. Galileo also was the first to observe the craters of the moon, the phases of Venus. And because of that, his observations of Venus, that gave him the evidence to support the Copernican model of the solar system. Okay. A telescope works by collecting light from the distant object. Now, in this telescope, there is a mirror at the end of the telescope tube. This is a primary mirror. Now, that primary mirror collects the light from the distant object and brings it into a focal point somewhere here. Then there is a flat mirror here that reflects the light onto this eyepiece. So the eyepiece further magnifies the initial image, producing the final magnified image. Okay. In the case of the telescope made by Galileo, you have lenses. Okay, the telescope made by Lippershey and Galileo, we call it the refracting telescope that uses lenses. This telescope is called the reflecting telescope. The design was made by Isaac Newton. Okay. Okay, let me give you now a guided tour of the basic parts of this telescope. So this is the telescope tube. Right, this telescope is a reflecting telescope. Reflecting because this telescope uses mirrors to produce a magnified image. So inside the telescope tube is the primary mirror. You can see the primary mirror below the telescope tube. The primary mirror is a concave or spherical mirror. See that? And near the top of the telescope tube is a secondary flat mirror. There. So the primary mirror collects the light from the distant object and it brings it into a focal point. Then the flat mirror reflects the initial image onto this eyepiece. Okay, that's your eyepiece. This design was made by Isaac Newton. So this is what we call a Newtonian reflecting telescope. All right, so we have here the focusing knob. And we have here the finder scope. The finder scope allows you to locate your target object. Okay, then below here we have two knobs. This is the declination knob. And this knob right here is the right ascension knob. Then we have here the counterweights. So it allows you to balance your telescope. And we have here the mount and tripod. The mount is called an equatorial mount. Anyway, we will explain later how the equatorial mount works. Okay, so those are the basic parts of this telescope, reflecting telescope. Okay, so this type of telescope is a refracting telescope. So a refracting telescope uses lenses to produce a magnified image of the distant object. So there are two major lenses here. We have here the objective lens. Okay, the objective lens collects the light from the distant object, and at the opposite end of the telescope tube is the eyepiece lens. Okay, so this telescope is similar to the one made by Hans Lippershey, by Galileo, and by Johannes Kepler. So, and this telescope is mounted on an altazimuth mount or altazimuthal mount. So in this type of mount, there are two movements. So we have the left and right movement, like so, and the up and down movement. So this type of mount is called an altazimuth or altazimuthal mount. Okay, so advantages of this telescope. Yeah, this telescope is rigid, sturdy. You don't need to uh, align the lenses, and it's quite good. The only disadvantage of this type of telescope is that this telescope produces color fringes, or the refracting telescope suffers from what we call chromatic aberration. But again, modern refracting telescopes now have correcting lenses that eliminates chromatic aberration or minimizes chromatic aberration. All right. So again, we have here the finder scope. So this finder scope allows you to locate your target. Okay. So this is a refracting telescope. So this is what we call a reflecting telescope. Okay, by the name itself, reflecting, this telescope uses mirrors to capture the light of a distant object. This telescope was designed by no other than Sir Isaac Newton himself. Okay, so inside the telescope tube is a concave mirror. So as you can see here, all right, so inside there is a concave mirror that collects the light, let's say, of a distant object, say the moon or a star or a planet. Then the collected light is bounced off a secondary mirror. There's a secondary mirror near the top of the telescope tube, and it is reflected onto this eyepiece. So if you look at the eyepiece, the image is magnified. Okay, what we have here also is a finder scope that allows you to locate your target. The telescope is mounted in an equatorial mount. So the equatorial mount is polar aligned, meaning that it is pointing at the North Star. But anyway, I will explain further the use of the equatorial mount. Advantages of this reflecting telescope, well, it eliminates color fringes or chromatic aberration, and it is cheaper than the refracting telescope, which I will explain later. Okay. This type of telescope is what we call a catadioptric telescope. Okay, catadioptric, that means that it is a combination of both refractive and reflective elements. Now, in front of the telescope is a correcting lens. This correcting lens minimizes or corrects any color fringes or chromatic aberration. Then at the back of the telescope is the primary mirror. Then there's a secondary flat mirror. So it's similar to the Newtonian telescope. But the only difference is that in front of this telescope is a correcting lens. So it is a combination of both refractive and reflective elements. So we call this a catadioptric telescope. Okay, so let us now study the so-called equatorial mount. So this reflecting telescope is mounted in what we call an equatorial mount. This is quite different from the altasimutal mount of the refracting telescope, the one that I mentioned a while ago. So if you will notice, this part of the mount must be pointed at the polar star. The polar star is Polaris. So we must look at the north. We must find first north using this digital compass. So if we find north, then this part of the equatorial mount should be pointed north. And this part is tilted at about 15 degrees from the horizontal. In fact, the North Star or Polaris is 15 degrees above the horizon, or 14.2 something degrees above the horizon. Okay, now you will notice that in the equatorial mount there are two knobs here. We have, this is what we call the declination knob, and this is the right ascension knob. So if your mount is polar aligned, and if you were able to find your target, all you need to adjust is the right ascension knob. Okay, right ascension, because if you will use your body, your front here is north, the back is south, your right hand here is east, and the sun, the moon, and the planets, they all rise east, eastward. So right ascension. So the moon and the planets, they ascend eastward. So right ascension. So if everything is polar aligned, then all you need to adjust is the right ascension knob. And this mount is very good for astrophotography. And if you have a motorized thing, you can attach it here and it will all be automatic. So that's the advantage of the equatorial mount, in contrast to the altasimutal mount. Okay. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something about telescopes. Thank you for listening. This is June Cahigal. This is Astronomy at Home, and be safe. So ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. So that's our guided tour of the telescope. So sana marami po kayong natutunan. So kung marami po kayong natutunan, mag-heart react po kayo para alam ko po na gising pa kayo at buhay na buhay. Alright, so yun yung mga telescopes po namin, both refractors that uses lenses and reflectors that uses mirrors. Now, in our stargazing activities, we observe the moon and its craters and its landscapes, and we also observe the planets, especially Jupiter and Saturn. And we also observe star clusters like the Pleiades, yung Pleiades, and also the sun. Okay, so I will now give you a tour on how to observe the sun safely. So, right, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts and let us now learn on how to observe the sun safely. Hi, so this is Astronomy at Home, and we are here outside and we will observe the sun. So One thing's for certain, never observe the sun directly through the telescope. Look what happened to Galileo. When Galileo pointed his telescope towards the sun, his eyes got damaged. So what we need in observing the sun is a special filter, something like this. Okay, this is what we call a bider solar filter, and we need to attach this to the telescope. Okay, so I made this DIY adapter. This is just a plastic basin that I bought only for 50 pesos. And what we will do is we will attach this filter onto the adapter. Okay. We'll take it right here. Alright, so we have now the filter attached to the plastic adapter. See? Okay. And we will attach this to the telescope. Okay, and you're good to go. But before that, you need to remove the finder scope. Okay, you don't need this in observing the sun because light might be concentrated and might burn your eyes. So you have to take this off and you can focus the sun using the shadow of the telescope. Be sure that the shadow of the telescope is aligned so that you can point to your target, which is the sun. Okay, so solar filters like this Bader solar filter is very effective in observing the sun using the telescope. Okay, but solar filters like this is quite expensive, and there are other methods of observing the sun. So one way of observing the sun is through what we call the projection method. Take note of that. It's projection method. So in the projection method, all we need to do is to aim the telescope towards the sun. So sunlight enters the telescope, it bounces off the primary mirror, and it is reflected onto the secondary mirror and onto the eyepiece. Okay, then the image of the sun can be projected onto a cardboard. Okay, so the image from the sun, instead of looking through the eyepiece, you allow the image to be projected onto the cardboard. So several of you, your friends, can observe the sun at the same time. See, and it's safe. You don't need to look through the eyepiece, or else your eyes would be damaged by the intense radiation from the sun. Okay, so that's what we call the projection method. Okay, very easy, very basic in solar observation. Okay, other methods may include the use of solar glasses like this one. Okay, or you can make use of welder's glass. The welder's glass, be sure that the welder's glass is more than gauge 12. Okay, so gauge 12 below, that's a no-no. It will not give you adequate protection. So at least gauge 14 would be the best welder's glass for solar observation. Okay, no to solar observations using X-ray films. That's a no-no. Don't use X-ray films. Don't even use camera films for observing the sun. Okay, so that will not provide adequate protection for your eyes. Okay, so be safe in observing the sun, and I'll see you around. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the telescope. So sana marami po kayong natutunan and sana po i-share po ninyo sa mga students po ninyo. And sana marami po kayong napulot dun sa ways of observing the sun safely. So, yan po yung ating short telescope workshop. And later, after this webinar, I'll be giving you a short quiz para malaman ko naman din po kung marami po kayong natutunan sa ating talk ngayong araw na ito. Ngayon po baka tanungin ninyo paano ngayon ang BSYA during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, yung mga activities namin before, hindi na ho namin magawa kasi baka maging super spreader event like yung mga free telescope viewings namin and yung mga stargazing activities, hindi na ho namin magawa itong pandemya. Talagang pinilay po kami ng COVID-19 pandemic. So, paano po ngayon yan? Paano ngayon ang buhay ng BSYA? So, BSYA has to adapt and we have to find ways of promoting astronomy not only to the Vedan community but to the general public. So talagang ang ginawa po namin, lahat po kami, talagang we set up our respective mission control. So yung laptop po namin ay may OBS, yung mga yan, so that we can do live streaming, and yung aming audio equipment ay talagang state of the art para talagang maganda yung audio at makinig ang mga tao sa aming mga live stream events. So yung mga talks po namin ay talagang ginawang online. Like ito po yung aming celebration ng World Space Week 2020 ay online. So we invited Mr. Dexter Banyo at ginawa namin yan via Zoom. First time po yan. And yung mga telescope viewings po namin ay online na rin. Like itong quarantine nights. So tinawag po namin quarantine nights yan. So I have attached a webcam dun sa eyepiece ng telescope at ini-FB live po namin kung ano po yung image na makukuha ng webcam na yan sa aming telescope. So yun ang tinatawag namin na Quarantine Nights, a virtual telescope viewing. And meron pa kami Among the Stars, also a virtual telescope viewing of the night sky. So lahat po yung mga symposium namin, mga public telescope viewings, ay lahat online and naka-live stream sa aming Facebook page, the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers. So yan po yung aming public telescope viewing, online public telescope viewing. Now, aside from our online telescope viewing, we also have our weekly online lecture that is live streamed on Facebook, dun sa aming Facebook page, the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, and we call it Space, the Final Frontier. So this is an online lecture series every Saturday po ito at around 7:30. And we have topics like the space shuttle, the secrets of Mars, and the science of Star Trek, and many more po. So I would like to invite everybody to watch our weekly Saturday online lecture series, Space, the Final Frontier. So yan pong ginagawa ng BSYA to adapt to this COVID-19 pandemic. So before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, gusto ko lang po ipakilala ang aking mga officers of the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, and siguro ipaliliwanag din nila kung bakit sila sumali dito sa organization na to. Alright, let's watch this.
Hello everyone, I am Angeline Kilam, the President of the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers in San Beda University. You may be wondering why I chose BSYA to be one of my organizations. First and foremost, I am fascinated by astronomy, and I am eager to learn more about it. Rather than astronomy, our moderator Sir June Cahigal teaches us not just only astronomy, but also how we became more technologically savvy citizens. Our main emphasis and basis is astronomy, but we also want to teach people to appreciate nature and the planet. To be honest, BSY taught me to be more appreciative and resourceful when it comes to stuff. It may not be simple, but we assist other people to discover more about themselves and become more linked with one another. Aside from that, BSY urges everyone to appreciate the beauty of natural world, particularly the solar system and the outer space. More likely with it. So I joined BSY to at least enjoy the experiences of being one of Sir Jules Cahigal pupils eager to learn more about astronomy and the universe.
Good day, everyone. I am Lian Martinez, the Internal Vice President of the Beden Society of Young Astronomers of academic year 2021-2022 in San Beda University. Being an ABM student, you wouldn't have known as to why I joined BSYA, being in a business-related strand. In the beginning, I really only joined BSYA because I really was just interested in astronomy. I didn't even expect to be one of the chosen officers, but then when I got chosen, and I changed my perspective of BSYA. The former club officers of BSYA made it their goal to promote BSYA in a fun way possible. Since then, I have two reasons as to why I joined BSYA. The first, it increases a sense of excitement and wonder among the students. Club activities makes up for their hobby time away from the daily schedule of subjects and classes. Students that enjoy this time to learn and explore things. In addition, BSYA being dedicated gives them the opportunity to know more about the celestial objects and more about astronomy, of course. And the second reason is the study of astronomy polishes many other important skills. BSYA is a useful extracurricular club not just to promote the interest of astronomy, but also to polish other skills. It's a great STEM, and even ABM or HUMS activity, as though the activities, observations, and concepts of astronomical phenomenon, students get to practice the tools of data analysis and scientific reasoning. And lastly, I want to mention that our club moderator, Sir June Kriegel, is one of the best, if not most, hands-on moderator in San Beda University. And that is why I joined BSY.
Hello, everybody. My name is Shiva Matty B. Cruz, and I'm the Work Head Committee of the Beden Society of Young Astronomers of San Beda University. So, why did I join BSY out of all the clubs that I could have chosen in San Beda University? Well, I have one is that, of course, our beloved moderator inspired me. Not because of how he tries to create events that can interest us students, us members of the club, but one of the most important thing was that his passion for it spread it like it was like a virus. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but in a good way. Because if you try to look at it, the way he explains things makes you so curious that it wants you to know more. It inspires you to know more. Second is that my passion for astronomy. I was already passionate when I was young. When I look at the stars, at the night sky, at the moon, I always wonder what is out there. What type of secrets does the universe hold for us to discover? How many life forms or terrestrial life that we can find out there in space? And lastly, what are we? Those questions keep me up at night sometimes, to the point that it makes me question my existence. Not in a bad way, or not in a good way, but in a way that we all question. It's not bad, but either way, it's interesting. But thanks to Sir Jun Kahigal, just like I said earlier, that his passion for astronomy made my passion for it even stronger than before. it made me want to learn about astronomy itself so that I can help my group mates or my fellow officers in whatever way possible that I can do to help them. And of course, our main goal to spread and to show our passion and to inspire a lot of people in the whole world. But of course, we got to start with our school, our local barangays, our friends, our families, and of course, us. And with that, I am Shivaman E.V. Cruz, the Workhead Committee of the Benin Society of Young Astronomers. Thank you and God bless.
Good day. I am Ariel Agbayani and I am the newly appointed auditor of the Benin Society of Young Astronomers of San Beda University, Manila. The Benin Society of Young Astronomers is an organization that binds people through astronomy. The BSYA helps people inside and outside of the organization circle to be more knowledgeable about astronomy and aims to teach people to reach for the stars. I decided to join the BSYA because of our moderator, Mr. Jun Cahigal, and the organization mission itself. Mr. Jun Cahigal has shown great sense of leadership and has a very warm and welcoming atmosphere. Also, I joined the organization since I am very interested in astronomy and the universe. And through BSYA, I have gained various knowledge about it. If you want to know more about astronomy, the universe, and be part of a warm and welcoming community, join us in the Benin Society of Young Astronomers in Reaching for the Stars.
So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, a model of an astronomy club. And even though we have the COVID-19 pandemic, we are still reaching for the stars. Nothing can stop us in promoting astronomy to the general public and to the Bedan community. So at this point, I'm ending my talk here. If you have any questions or reactions or comments, just type in your questions, reactions, or comments in our chat box, or you can unmute your microphone later and we'll be having an open forum. So I guess that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Kaspacer and Space Commander, Professor Jun Cahigal from the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers, saying, live long and prosper. So right after this, we'll be having our open forum.
Thank you very much, Prof. Jun Cahigal, for giving us the insights about the Bedan Society of Young Astronomers. Ang dami po naming natutuhan ngayong umaga na ito, Sir Jun. Prof. Jun, sorry. Pero bago po yan, kamustahin po muna natin ang atin pong mga viewers, of course, with our dear webinar participants. Kamusta na po sila ngayon sa ating pong comments? Ang dami pong nag-react. Actually po, ito ang nakakuha ng attention ko, Sir Jun. Prof. Jun, sorry. I-share ko lang po ang shout out ni Miss Juliana Cabalar. Siya po ay isang student, grade 8 student, Section Justice, watching from Bagong Barrio National High School. Ang kanya pong science teacher ay si Sir Edmar Habon. Ayan, talaga pong nakatutok siya sa atin. And then from good morning din po kay Ma'am Rosita Barcelas Binyola. So admirable po, ang sabi niya, Sir Jun. Yan, nakalagay po dito. So ang dami pong heart signs na nakalagay dito, Prof. Jun, coming from Jordan Peralta or Sir Jordan Peralta Hines. Of course, mga dear webinar participants, don't forget to write po yung inyong SDO and your school po para ma-mention din po natin. Okay, next we would like to say good morning once again to Ing Cruz. Good morning po, watching from Bagong Barrio National High School. Okay, siya po ay grade 10, Section Hardy. Estudyante rin po ito. Sir Jun, ang daming nanood sa atin ngayong umaga ng mga students po. Of course, good morning daw po muli from Marco Hermoso, watching from Governor Luis A. Ferrer Junior East National High School, SDO General Trias, Cavite. Have a nice day po. Napakarami po niyang heart sign, Prof. Jun, na nasinare ngayong umaga na to. And of course, once, isa na lang po, Ayan, from Mac Cruz, Raquel, good morning po, watching from Aliaga, ES Malasiki to SDO1 Pangasinan. Good morning po. And once, ito na lang po, last na lang, from Miss Chloe Angela Balagtas Laride. Good morning po, watching from Caloocan North Elementary School. Ayan, alam ko po ito ay sa SDO Caloocan. Okay, with that, indeed this kind of thank you very much po sa ating mga nag-share na kanilang shoutouts po. Don't forget po yung may mga question, i-type nyo lang po ang inyong question sa ating comment box. And then later po, after na ating second speaker, we will have our question and answer portion. Okay, so indeed with this kind of organization, the Beden Society of Young Astronomers consists of students who are interested in exploring. Of course, the universe will become more participative with astronomy, celestial bodies, and of course, observing the heavens. We also learned din po, no, for that part of joining the Beden Society of Young Astronomers is to learn about amateur astronomy and observing techniques. So my dear webinar participants, alam ko pong very interested din tayo sa activities and events na ating Beden Society of Young Astronomers. So you may contact Prof. Jun Cahigal if you have queries po through their FB page of Beden Society of Young Astronomers, no, with their live stream event. Okay, so at this juncture, we would like to award the Certificate of Recognition. And let me read the citation first. The Republika ng Pilipinas, Department of Education, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City. Certificate of Recognition is awarded to Professor Pablo B. Cahigal Jr. for sharing his invaluable knowledge and expertise as resource speaker during the National Science Club Month Webinar Series 2021. In the webinar session entitled The Beden Society of Young Astronomers Model upon Astronomy Club, conducted by the Office of the Undersecretary for Administration, OUA, through the Information and Communications Technology Services Educational Technology Unit, the ICTS-EdTech, held on September 18, 2021, given this 18th day of September 2021 at DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Philippines. Signed by Mr. Mark Anthony, CC, Head of ICTS-EdTech Unit, and of course, Director Abram YC Abanil, Director for ICTS, and USEC Alain Del B. Pasqua, Undersecretary for Administration. Congratulations po, Sir June, for sharing your expertise with us this morning.
Okay, maraming salamat po Ma'am Miriam and to all the webinar participants na nanonood at nakatutok po sa atin ngayon. Maraming salamat po. And let's keep reaching for the stars. And just stick around po and meron pa tayong second speaker na napakagaling po. So maraming salamat and good day to everybody.
Have a good day po, Sir Jun. Standby lang po kayo kasi later we will have our, of course, this question and answer portion of our second speaker po pagkatapos po niyan. And of course, to introduce our second speaker, we will have Ma'am Vic.
Okay, let's have first a brief shout out of some of our selected webinar participants. So watching right now, the critic teacher of Sir Antonio Maipa during his college days. She's Mom Esmeralda Tolentino of Victorino Mapa High School, Manila. So hi Ma'am, good morning. And of course, shout out to our ever supportive school head, Dr. Wilhelmina D. Tarnate. She's currently watching too. So hi Ma'am. So there you go. Our next resource speaker will share his topic about new normal practices of science clubs in SDO Caloocan and future direction. He completed the academic requirements of Master of Arts in Science Education with a specialization in physics at Philippine Normal University, Manila. He was a national level awardee for Outstanding Teacher of the Year and Innovative Teacher of the Year. He was declared as Outstanding Teacher of the Year in Bagong Barrio National High School na Tatanging Guro 2020. A winning coach of various science competitions and division resource speaker in various seminars, trainings, and workshops. He also served SDO Caloocan as member of PWG of various seminars, webinars, and workshops. SLM writer, illustrator, and validator in science. He is the newly elected president of SDO Caloocan Secondary Science Club Advisor Association. Put your hands virtually together for Mr. Gary D. Enriquez. Hello, Sir Gary.
Hello po. Once again, good morning po, Ma'am Miriam and Ma'am
Good
Marvick.
morning.
Is my audio clear po?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Okay po. Good morning po ulit and also good morning sa lahat ng mga kasama po natin sa backstage po, no? And then kanina kay Professor June. So magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
Okay, so take it away, Sir Gary. God bless.
Thank you po. Alright, so good morning po sa ating lahat. Good morning sa lahat ng ating mga viewers from all over the Philippines. Ang ating mga students na kanina pang excited para po sa ating gagawin po sa araw na ito. Gayun din sa ating mga teachers and even parents na kasama natin po ngayon. And I am very privileged na mabigyan ng pagkakataon po ng ating DepEd Central, ng DepEd EdTech Unit para po ma-share ito pong new normal practices of Science Club in SDO Caloocan and Future Direction. Once again, I'm your Sir Gary, the President of Caloocan Secondary Science Club Advisors Association. So as to begin, okay, mag-exam muna tayo. Okay, tignan natin ha. Dito nakaantabay din ako sa comment section. Kanina, napakaganda ng simula ni Professor Ju. Napakarami nating natutunan. Tignan natin kung talagang natuto tayo. At tignan natin kung marami pa bang hindi bumibitaw sa atin ngayon sa ating webinar. Okay? Kung meron pa tayong mga friends, we could invite by sharing our links for this webinar. And then, kindly answer first. Just fill in the blanks. Okay, on the screen, you see watching from and then blank, your school, and then next is your division and your region. And also include hashtag NSCM Week 3. Okay, sige, tignan nga natin. May I see? If you follow the direction, so while doing that, I would like to take this opportunity to greet our SDO Caloocan officials, starting with our SDS, or Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Nerissa Elosaria. Our ASDSS, we have Ms. Flordelisa Di Pereira and Dr. Diosdado S. Medina. Our CID Chief, Dr. Jocelyn M. Alinyab. Of course, not to forget our public schools district supervisors and also the division science coordinators for elementary. We have Ma'am Chris Surigao, and for junior high school, we have Dr. Emiterio D. Macarubo. And of course, not to forget the ever-supportive principal of Bagong Barrio National High School, our principal, our school head, Mr. Ferasim Serbong R. Danog. Sa lahat ng aking mga co-teachers from Bagong Barrio National High School, sa Atoms Family, sa aking mga friends, sa Sunday Barkada, sa aking mga B-Stars, sa aking Science Department, sa aking FAMBAM, ng Castillo FAMBAM na nanonood ngayon, sa aking mga kaibigan from all over the Philippines. I have a friend from Pangasinan. So, si Ma'am watching ngayon. So, tinitingnan ko yung mga nanonood. So, we have from Regions 3, 5, NCR, Region 8, Region 4A. Okay, pasuyo po sa ating webinar director to flash all the names of these viewers para ma-recognize po sila at para malaman nila na tayo ay buhay na buhay pa rin sa ating Week 3 webinar. At sa topic po nating Science Club. So I'm very excited to share with you the SDO Caloocan New Normal Practices of Science Clubs. Kasi ako, when I was a kid, when I was a high school student pa lang, even in elementary, I started actually being the president of a science club before I became an SSG president. Kaya yung puso ko sa science club plus student government ay nasa akin na bata pa lang. Kaya ngayon, given the opportunity to speak before you nationwide is something very memorable. It's a milestone in my life to share all over the Philippines what I have or what we have in SDO Caloocan. Okay, so I think all of you followed correctly. I saw a lot of comments on the screen. So let's begin. All right. At tanong, na-miss mo ba? Kaso babalik sa'yo, na-miss ka nga ba? Okay, so as you can see, you have pictures. I'll be showing pictures here. And then what you need to do is to guess, okay, what are shown in the picture or what do this picture represent by, of course, rearranging the jumbled letters. Okay, for the first two pictures, kindly use the comment section for the answer. What's the answer for first two pictures? Na-miss mo ba ito? Okay, ayan, ang dami. So I see Ma'am Apolonio, Quiz B, I see Filio Castillo, Quiz B. Okay, tama. Let's see. So the answer is Quiz B. Pasuyo po tayo sa ayan. Thank you po Sir Rainier no, na nasa backstage natin ng ating project lead. No, kasamahan ko din sa SDO Caloocan na siyang nagpa-flash ng yung mga answers. Kaya huwag kayo aalis kasi pwede namin kayo mabigyan ng prizes. Malay naman natin, di ba? Okay. So ang next nating na-miss nyo ba? We have, okay? Eto, syempre naman, nakakita tayo ng illustration board, lalo yung mga magagaling sa arts. Miss na miss nyo na to. At makikita nyo sa right side, ang org shirt ng aming club, yung Atoms Family. Ayan, shoutout sa aking mga Atoms Family sa Bagong Barrio High School. So what's the answer for the next picture? We have, okay, si Ma'am Menchi. Okay, poster making. Who else? Sino pa ba? Okay, ayan, okay. Let's see. Poster making is the correct answer. Of course, in different schools, nag-iiba-iba yung mga pangalan ng contest natin. But in general, ang tawag natin, what we call to this activity or contest is poster making. Okay? Next. Third set of pictures we have, eto, ayan. Ito yung isa sa mga favorite ng mga estudyante, lalo na kapag bored na sila sa school. Ano kaya ito? Yan. So again, makikita nyo dyan yung mga pictures ng aking mga science club officers during face-to-face classes. Okay, si Region 4A Calabarzon. Okay, Sir Emmanuel Giwan. Si Ma'am Mary Bigpana, ang sagot nila ay Sai Olympics. Let's see. Okay, the answer is Sai Olympics. So makikita nyo dito sa kabila no nagbabalance yung mga estudyante namin. For sure sa ibang schools, sa ibang regions, may mga similar activities din kayo like this. Katulad ng meron sa amin. Okay? Sa kabila naman makikita nyo sa mga officers, may kanya-kanya mga table. Sa bawat table na yon, station po yon, iba-iba yung mga challenge po na pinapagawa po natin for the Sai Olympics. So ang gagaling na ating mga viewers, no? Tama yung mga sagot nila. Ayan, sige. Tuloy-tuloy lang po tayo hanggang mamaya. Huwag po tayo tatama din sa pagsagot kasi ang next natin ay ito. O, sino ba namang hindi makakamiss sa pagsusuot ng costume, pupunta ng Divisoria, or pupunta kung saan man kayo bumibili ng mga costume nyo, mag-recycle, magpa-practice. Yan yung mga miss na miss natin kasi ngayon we are not allowed to go out. So what we do is just stay at home. So ito kasi it requires presence na magsama-sama tayo. Kaya for sure, lalo mga estudyante miss na. Okay? Ano kaya to? Si Miss Ria Cruz Loqueño. Ang galing ni Ma'am Mari Pana. Okay. The answer is Saidan. So once again, etong Saidans kasi pwedeng mag-iba-iba. So it varies from one school to another just like in our school. Just to relate with the team, ang tawag namin dito is Sayaw Kalikasan. So shout out sa aking mga kasamahan sa Bagong Barrio High School. So we have of course the last. O yan. You see how creative our students are, no? Coming up to these costumes na recycled materials ang gamit. Dagdagan mo pa kung papaano sila rarampa sa harap ng maraming tao. That's something commendable talaga kung gaano sila kagagaling. So ano kaya ito? This one is, Okay, si Miss Maureen, si Miss Diana Bayer, si Miss Conde, ang sagot nila is Sci Pageant. Okay, so let's see. The answer is Sci Pageant. So in our school, ang tawag naman namin dito is Project Eco Runway. So we considered it not just an activity but as a project. So meron talagang output. So meron talaga detalyado kung ano yung mga nangyayari bago sila makapag-come up ng costume. So yung itong Project Eco Runway ay isa sa mga tumatak since I started teaching in public school 8 years ago. So that's 2013, no? So from then on, ang Project Eco Runway ay nakilala na dito sa aming lugar sa Bagong Barrio. Kaya muli, maraming salamat sa mga estudyante namin na participate para po dito. At ang daming nakakuha ng tamang sagot. Lalo ngayon ay pageant season. No? Malapit na ang Miss Universe Philippines. Okay. Next. Syempre, for today, hindi lang naman, I will not be sharing only what we have in this division of Caloocan. Of course, this is nationwide. So as much as possible, I want everybody to participate. Kaya nga, you know what makes this topic very interesting is that this is not just for us. This is not just for the teachers, not just for the students, even parents, everybody, not just science club advisors, science club officers. This is for everybody. Para sa mga estudyanteng gustong maging science club member officers, para sa mga teacher gustong maging science club advisor in the future. But before that, let's share muna yung sa inyo bago ako yung mag-share. Ang tawag natin dito is share mo lang. Okay, siguro naman familiar tayo dyan, no? SML, share mo lang. Ano yung i-share ninyo? O, patuloy lang pagiging active natin sa ating comment section sa Science Month una kong. Okay, isa-isay natin. Sa Science Month una kong, number 1, nakasali sa Patimpalak. Number 2, nakatanggap ng medalya. Number 3, naiyak dahil sa saya. Number 4, ito, nakilala si Crush. And number 5, nahuling niloloko niya lang pala ako. Grabe naman yung number 5. Nahuling niloloko niya lang pala ako. So pumili tayo, pwede tayong pumili, pwedeng 1, 2, 3, kahit ilan. Just type the number kung ano dito yung na-experience ninyo. Sa Science Month, una kong, so lalagyan nyo lang number. Tignan natin kung sino kaya dito yung sasagot ng number 5. Okay, let's see. Tignan nga po natin, Sir Rainier, kung ano mga sagot nila. Aba, meron dito, si J. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above all. Lahat na experience mo sa Science Month. O, yung meron dito, nakasali sa Patimpalak. Pero mas ang sakit ng number 5 no? Number 4, nakilala si Crush, Miss Sheila. Okay, tignan nga natin yan. Okay. Pakilala nyo ngayon crush nyo sa akin mamaya, PM nyo ako. Okay, so ayan, ang daming mga sagot. Ayan, okay. Thank you so much for your active participation. And of course, oops, ano ba to? May nag-chat. May nag-chat? Habang busy ako dito. Okay, pakitulungan nga ako. May nag-chat daw. Okay, 1 message received. Sino kaya to? Okay, September 1 pa. Biruin mo yun, September 1 po. Hi sir, good morning. Manghihingi lang po sana ako ng suggestions about Science Club. At may patawa-tawa ka pa dyan, ha? Okay, actually, talagang na-receive ko itong message na to. I received this message September 1. So, ilang weeks na rin, no? Ito talaga yung mismong message niya. Pero tinanggal ko na yung pangalan at sana nanonood ka ngayon. Okay, kung nanonood ka man ngayon, itatago muna natin siya sa pangalang James. Okay? O sige, shoutout nga sa mga James na nanonood ngayon. Baka ikaw to. Shoutout nga gamit ang comment section. Okay. Tingnan natin. Ngayon, nag-chat si James no? Ano niya lang yun ginawan ko lang ng pangalan. Tulungan natin, hindi lang ako yung tutulong. Okay? Tulungan natin si James kung paano niya nga ba mapapaganda or paano ba magiging active yung science club niya, no? Assuming I assume science club advisor tong nag-chat. So mamaya re-reply natin yung chat niya. Okay, para matulungan natin siya, of course, we have to identify objectives, okay? Para alam natin yung patutunguhan natin. So we have number 1, let's first describe what is science club. Second is let's suggest tips in handling a science club and cite some science club activities in the new normal. Napakadali. Okay, say natin yan. Okay, let's start with describe science club. Okay. To describe, if you have another device, kindly proceed to www.menti.com and use the code 1354 7629. Okay, paki-picture lang po, paki-screenshot kasi aalis ako dito sa screen. Sa mga hindi naman po gumagamit ng ibang devices, pwede po kayo sa comment section. Okay? Tapos magka-flash share screen yung mga sagot ninyo. Tingnan natin, what is Science Club? Okay, na-screenshot na po. Go to Menti. O yung mga taga-bagong bari, pumunta kayo sa Menti para may sumagot. Okay, sige. Tsaka yung mga kasama kong advisor sa science, sa SDO Caloocan, punta po tayo sa menti.com. And of course, sa lahat ng mga watchers natin, viewers from all over the Philippines. Okay? So, punta muna ako sa Menti para masundan natin. No? Okay. So, let's start for this number 1. What is Science Club? Kaso mabagal ata yung aking ngayon. Okay, sige, habang nag-read siya. So, pwede na po kayo mag-type for you dito sa sa comment section. For you, what is Science Club? Okay, tingnan natin. Baka ayan. Thank you po, Sir Rainier. Not plinash na yung number. Okay, yung code. Okay, tingnan nga po natin yung iba nating mga audience, mga viewers, kung nag-type na sila, pwede po tayo sa comment section. For you, what is Science Club? Okay? Habang lumalaban yung aking internet dito, connection. All right. Sige, pwede na po mag-type sa comment section. Let's see kung magpaparehas tayo ng definition. Okay? Okay, sa mga nakapasok sa Mentimeter, you may start po. At sana may Oops, meron na. Okay, as you can see sa screen, meron full of fun, Science Club is after school. Good. All right. Wow, ang daming family organization, mentorship. Wow, ang daming sumagot. Nakaka-overwhelm naman. Oh, akala ko lang sasagot eh. Organization of students who lead science activities. Very good. Mentor-based science program, camaraderie organization. Who else ang sumagot? Okay, sige. Oops. The mentorship-based science education model to sa focus. All right. Okay, post na po natin. No? So, enough na po yung mga answer. Very good po kayo yung lahat. Grabe, nakaka-overwhelm naman po ito. Ang daming sumagot. So, balik po tayo dito sa ating slide. All right. So, dito tayo ulit. So, ano nga ba ang Science Club? Sir Gary? Okay. Actually, wala naman talagang definition ng Science Club. So, we have it says here, what is Science Club? An organization for students, of course, led by a teacher, which helps in the development of scientific attitude and develops genuine interest in science and scientific activities. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are very good in science. Okay, for as long as you love science and you want to know more about science, then you could become a Science Club member. Even up to now, no? Mamaya mismo magpa-member ka na. Meant for learning by doing, okay? Because it requires or it's an avenue for us to manipulate a lot of apparatus, mabibigyan tayo ng opportunity, of course, to be involved sa mga science exhibits and the like. Channelizes the energies of students and make use of their skills and talents which satisfy their instincts and urges and helps in their overall personality development. So it's not just for students na nag-e-exam sa science, hindi lang siya yung magaling critical thinker, also for those who have different talents and skills. Kaya nga, di ba, yung mga activities natin, yung pinakita natin kanina, may mga sayaw, may mga modeling, because, it's, whole package, no? Yung pinaka-personality development, yun ang pinaka-isa sa hinuhubog sa science club, hindi lang basta magaling sa science. Okay, these are just few of the definitions or the ways to describe science clubs, but in your own words, you could do that as well. Okay? Next, speaking of Science Club, I am very proud to introduce to you the one that I have been handling for 8 years. Since I started in public for 8 years, I've been handling the BBNHS or Bagong Barrio National High School Atoms Family. Pakitandaan po yan kasi kasama po yan sa quiz mamaya. So BBNHS Atoms Family, awarded as one of the most outstanding organizations in their school for 4 consecutive years. And this club, of course, has around 100 members, okay? Active members and officers. And marami na po sa kanila ngayon ay mga professionals na rin, okay? So, I'm just happy to share them nationwide. Of course, we're done with number 1. Next is number 2, suggest tips in handling a science club. Balik po tayo sa Menti. Okay, yung iba sa comment section. Balik tayo sa Menti, tapos na tayo sa objective number 1. So this time, what tip can you suggest? Di ba nagtatanong kanina si James. So ngayon na-define na natin, alam na ni James yung definition. Ngayon naman, mag-suggest tayo ng tip, paano niya ba mapapa-active or magiging active yung science club niya. So using this code, you go to Menti again, menti.com, and the rest shall use the comment section, and then the answers will be flashed on screen. Okay, let's start. What tip can you suggest? Let's go again to Menti. Again, yung iba sa ating comment section. Okay? Thank you for your active participation. Ayan, ang dami ko nakikita mga comments. Alright, balik tayo dito sa number 2. My presentations. Di ba? Nakakatawa, no? Nag-focus na lang actually, I plan to use other applications but I decided to use only one kasi para ma-explore natin yung mga iba pang features ng Mentimeter. Interactive niya talaga. So, by the way, maraming salamat sa friend ko na nag-offer ng place kay Ma'am Fatima Velasco, kay Sir Mark Velasco, sa aking mga friends, kay Sir Benedict na nag-ayos sa akin at kay Sir Jasper. All right, so let's present. What tip can you suggest? Okay, let's see. Ang dami na kagad. James, kung nanonood ka man, James, ito yung mga suggestions nila sa'yo. Be considerate, attend webinar like this, be participative, be consistent, socialize with the members to get new ideas. Make action plan for activities. Openness from the leaders to followers. Be organized. Activities should be interesting and interactive. Very good. Ensure that the members are having fun while learning, just like what we do now. Okay? Ensure the members are having fun while learning. What else? Napakarami. James, kota na tayo dyan ha. Baka malungkot ka pa dyan. Ang dami oh. Alright. So yung iba nasa comment section pa. So balik na tayo. So let's have again this one. Okay. Alright. Bilis lang tayo. Number 2 na kagad tayo. What tip can you suggest? Okay. Para makapag-suggest ako sa inyo, for me to suggest, ngayon kasi hindi ko lang dala sarili ko. I am actually buhat-buhat ko lahat ng mga fellow science club advisors ko, not just in the secondary but also in the elementary. So sa lahat ng mga kasamahan ko science club advisors, both in elementary and secondary in the SDO Caloocan, i-lead natin sila sa ating division. Baka sakaling makakuha sila ng ibang mga ideas from us. So let's go to SDO Caloocan. So sa lahat ng mga taga Caloocan dyan, shout out naman. Okay, dali natin sila sa SDO Caloocan. Let's go to SDO Caloocan as a friend. Di ba? Hindi tayo punta ng Baguio. Pupunta tayo sa Caloocan as a friend. Okay, I'm a friend of James. So tulungan natin siya. Alright, para matulungan natin siya, of course, let's have this starter pack. Okay? What is a starter pack? A set of things that are useful, take note, are useful when doing an activity, going to a place like SDO Caloocan for the first time. Kaya kahit na matagal ka ng Science Club Advisors at lalo tigit sa mga bago pa lang Science Club Advisor, mahalaga tong starter pack. Okay, actually gawa-gawa ko to kasi based on my experiences. You know what makes this talk very interesting is that everything that you see here, this is actually what we do in the SDO Caloocan. Okay? Kaya sobrang privilege lang kami na ma-share ito sa inyo. Walang labis, walang kulang. Kung ano yung ma-share ko sa inyo, this is exactly what we do. Kasi pwedeng magaling si speaker, sinabi niya lahat, pero hindi naman talaga yun napapractice. But in SDO Caloocan, this is what we really practice. Okay? So for the first timer, what are this starter pack? This includes number 1, tama yung kanina sumagot, action plan. Next is we have set of officers. Of course, if you have the action plan, paano ka naman ma-execute yung action plan kung wala kang set of officers? So you need to have set of officers, and then you have to, if you already have the set of officers, that's the time you need the directory para makontak sila. Of course, pag nakontak sila, you could start doing meetings online kasi it's new normal. Okay? And of course, kapag nag-meeting na kayo, it's important to have a depository kasi sobrang daming mga files ninyo kailangan. Ginagamit natin yung mga flash drive ngayon. Kahit di na gumamit nun, we have depository or to the use of Google Drive. And number 6 is social media platforms. Ano yung mga social media platforms? Mamaya, isi-share natin sa inyo. Okay? Isa-isayin natin yan. Ano ito mga to? So let's have this action plan. In our division, but first, let's define an action plan. So maraming definition ng action plan, but this one is the best definition, I think. A club's checklist of steps steps or tasks that need to complete in order to achieve the goals it has set. Let's see do sa sample natin kung talaga naka-checklist siya. Okay, what we have is this. So in our division, of course, following the memo given by DepEd last November 2020 for the proper use of the heading, so as you can see, and then proposed action plan, and then we have 5 columns there. First column is the title of programs and activities or projects. Second column is for goals and objectives. Persons concerned. Next is target date or time frame. And expected outcome and output. But take note, there's no such thing as one definite template or format for the action plan. Okay? So, pwede nyong ilagay, for example, dito yung success indicator. Pwede nyong palitan. Sa amin, ginawa ko na lang din ganyan. Tapos yung ibang mga hindi nakasama dito, like yung mga hinati nyo sa iba't ibang teams, pwede nyo siyang ilagay dito sa, let's say, objectives. Okay? So, this is a sample. If you're not used to working or doing action plans, this one is very beneficial para sa'yo. Okay? At least you have already the format. Okay? Lalagyan mo na lang. So, yan yung mga ginagamit ngayon ng ating mga science lab advisors na binababa sa kanilang mga schools na pwede rin ng mga estudyante gawin. Yung mga science lab officers natin, they could do this as well. Our science lab advisors can actually ask the students or the student leaders to provide also their action plans. Hindi lang naman si teachers ang may action plan. All right. First one is the different action plans of the different schools in Caloocan, okay? Uploaded or prepared by their science lab advisors. Makikita nyo dito, this one is saved sa Google Drive, yung kaninang sinabi nating depository, no? Doon sa natin i-store. But what have you noticed? Sige nga, tingnan natin sa mga audience, anong na-notice nyo dito sa naka-upload? How it is arranged? Let's see how it is arranged. Pwede po ba makahingi ng action plan si Miss Mikey Kabugnason? Okay, PM lang po kayo kung may mga kailangan po kayo, paano ako makakatuloy kahit mamaya sa Q&A para matandaan po yung pangalan ninyo. Ayan, may nanghihingi na kagad ng action plan. Okay, so you will notice here that these action plans uploaded here in our depository are arranged using a similar template or format. Okay, may file naming format po kami starting with CAAP. So what does it mean? Kasama po ito sa quiz, Caloocan Secondary Science Club Advisors Association. And of course, on behalf of the elementary, kay Ma'am Chris at kay Doc Gwen at kay Sir Win, sa kanila naman po is Caloocan Elementary Science Club Advisors Association. So nag-start kami doon sa acronym sa yon. Then _action_plan_1. 1 represents the district or cluster. Then Aromar, and then the school. So, what's the significance of doing so? Para when they upload, mabilis siyang makikita kung sino na po mga nakapagpasa. Okay? So, alphabetical order po siya. So, mas organized po siya. That's the essence of having a format or a file name format. Okay? So, sa lahat ng mga nanonood dyan, lalo sa mga katulad kong presidents ng mga Science Club Advisors Association, shoutout sa Manila, na nanonood ngayon kay Sir Reggie, President ng Manila Science Club Advisors, ayan po, pwede po nating magamit. Okay, next. Ang next na kasama dun sa ating starter pack ay ang set of officers. Of course, an action plan cannot be executed or hindi siya magagawa kung wala tayong mga officers na kikilos. So who are the set of officers? They are responsible for providing all aspects of leadership for the student, even the teacher, organization, and are responsible for their own actions as well as the actions of the students, teacher, organization, and members. Of course, very basic, no? Alam naman din natin yan lahat. Okay. Ngayon, pwede ba sa comment section malaman sino dito yung mga Science Club Advisors and Science Club officers, mga estudyante? Shoutout nga po, pakitype nga po yung mga regions kung saan kayo galing, ang mga Science Club Advisors and officers po natin, mga estudyante, pakitype nga po. Ayan, grabe no, from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, tayo po ay dinadagsa kanina nung bago ako makapasok dito, nasa 1.7K. Ewan ko lang ngayon, siguro mga nasa 1.8 na. All right, this is what we did. So bago kami nakapag-function, of course, we had first the SDO Caloocan Elementary and Secondary Science Club Advisors Association Virtual Meeting and Election of Officers. Okay? So, yan talaga yung mismong ginawa namin last August 24, 2021. Yan po, makikita nyo yung Gmeet namin. And then, of course, after mag-elect, after magkaroon ng set of officers, we had the induction of officers both in elementary and secondary. So, meaning, even in the new normal, possible naman pala talaga, kayang-kaya. No? Kayang-kaya mag-function ng ating mga estudyante at mga teachers. Kayang-kaya ma-hold yung mga programs even if we're thinking na parang hindi imposible. But it's actually possible. In Caloocan, kung nagawa namin sa Caloocan, magagawa nyo kahit sa ang lugar pa man. Okay? Of course, in the picture kanina, ang aming CID chief, Dr. Alinyab. Number 3 is the directory. Ito napaka-useful nito sa akin until now. Actually, dyan sa aming lahat. What is a directory? A directory is a book which gives list of facts, for example, people's names, addresses, and phone numbers, or the names and addresses of business companies, usually arranged in alphabetical order. Okay? So, not necessarily a book, but a sheet might do in case of Google. So, it's G Sheet or Google Sheet. Okay? A sample of that is this. So ito talaga this is what I really ask my co-science club advisors to fill out. So yung makikita with the use of Google Sheet. So hindi siya naka-alphabetical kasi kung sino yung unang nag-fill out, siya yung nasa taas. So I first filled out yung form, kaya ako yung nasa taas, and then yan, tinakpan ko na lang yung kanilang mga personal information kasi hindi siya pwede. And then yan po yung aming directory. So marami po yung gamit. Kapag may if I need to know who is their principal or school head, I just look at the directory, then nakikita ko. If I want to check kung sino nag-celebrate ng birthday sa aming mga science clubs, and then I can easily find it using the directory and so on and so forth. Okay? Next, number 4 is minutes of the meeting. Of course, any organization, of course, conducts meetings. Okay? When you conduct meeting, it's important to take note that there must be somebody, usually a secretary, who is taking down notes. And we call it minutes of the meeting. Okay? So that, lalo kung mahaba yung meeting, no? Pag di kayo nag-take down notes, di kayo nag-minutes of the meeting, makakalimutan nyo na. Okay? This is a written record of a meeting, typically highlights the key issues that are discussed, motions proposed or voted on, and activities to be undertaken. Lalo, if you are asking for votation. So it's important that you have the minutes of the meeting. Kung meron kayong a certain issue na pinagdesisyonan. If you have the minutes of the meeting, reflected doon kung ilan yung boto, ano yung nanalong in favor of what or who. So nandoon yun lahat. Every single detail na ginawa nyo during the meeting. Okay? And the sample minutes of the meeting is this. Yan mismo yung aming minutes of the meeting courtesy of our secretary for the association, si Ma'am Amy Serrano of Benigno Aquino High School. Shoutout po, Ma'am Amy. So as you can see here, okay, pwede nyo pong screenshot. This is the format that we use in our division. But in every region, any other places in the Philippines, you could have your own. But this one is, the pattern that you could use. No? Pag tinignan nyo sa Google, iba-iba. Pero this one, based doon sa mga nagamit ko ng minutes of the meeting before, ito yung I come up with this. And then I shared it with my fellow science club advisors. And this one is very helpful because hindi lang naman science club advisor. It's not only the science club advisors who are using this. Even our students could actually use this minutes of the meeting because even our student leaders also conduct meetings with their fellow officers and members. Okay? So we have here the title, the date, the day, the venue in case of online. So we have Google Meet, or you could use Zoom or any other online platform. Then time started and then time ended. Okay? Of course, after that, the next part of this minutes of the meeting is were present. Tapos nakalist down lahat doon kung sino yung mga present. And then of course the agenda and then the details. In the details, you specify okay, every single detail na meron. Okay? So, ayan. Next natin is, of course, kung sino nag-prepare. Okay, and then attested the president and then noted kung sino man po yung inyong supervisor. Okay, so this is the sample. Number 5. Okay? Depository. So, the one that you saw, you've seen kanina, na pinaglagyan ng mga action plan is the depository or the Google Drive. Okay? In case sa mga teachers, may mga malaki yung ano no, yung memory ng aming Google Drive. A place where something is deposited or stored as for safekeeping. Napaka-helpful po nito lalo po ngayon yung normal kasi you don't need to buy any other materials like what I said, yung flash drive na mahal. So this one pwede na, no? Mabilis mo pang makuha kasi nandun siya sa Google Drive na kasi ma-share mo pa. Oh, you could share it with your other colleagues. A sample Google Drive that we have is this. Okay, so we have here SDO Caloocan Secondary Science Club Advisors Association, CSS-CAA. This is our Google Drive. This is exactly the content of our Google Drive. So we have different folders, template. Ito yung mga naka-upload dito, yung mga templates na ginagamit namin, templates for minutes of the meeting, templates for the action plan, templates for the calendar of activities, and then we have next the slide deck. Yung mga PowerPoint presentation, all PowerPoint presentations that we use during the meeting or during the activities are all uploaded in that folder. And then you have the Science Month calendar and guidelines. So all schools uploaded their calendar of activities in their respective school. And then we have recorded video and chat transcript. Okay, advice ko. My advice to my fellow Science Club advisors all over the Philippines is to always, of course, you ask permission first, to always record your meeting. But you first ask your colleagues if they agree. Okay? Kailangan may permission muna nila. And then recorded, kasi kapag ni-record mo yon, mariretrieve mo siya. Pag may na-miss kang part ng meeting, lalo yung mga hindi naka-attend ng meeting, they could go back doon sa recorded meeting and then mari-review nila. So parang umattend na din sila. And provided as well yung chat transcript. Di ba? If you use Gmeet, let's say, nagchat-chat tayo doon. So lahat ng chinachat natin doon sa recorded transcript ay naka-record. Kaya hindi kami nahihirapan, no? Binabalikan din namin yung chat transcript na yun in Word file. Okay, next. Last, number 6, social media platform. Social media is a collective term for websites and applications that focus on communication, community-based, input interaction, contest sharing, and collaboration. Ano yung okay, shout out po daw. May nagpapa-shout out po. Pa-shout out po kay Ryget, kay Ryan Osma at kay JM Castillo na nanonood ngayon habang nagtitinda. Social media platforms, we have 3. Okay, pakitingnan po yung screen. At sana makatulong po to sa inyo, no? Malaking bagay ito. Sasabihin nyo, alam naman namin yan, yung Messenger, alam namin yung Facebook group, alam na namin yung Facebook page. Actually, only to find out recently na marami rin palang hindi pa rin nakakaalam, no? Meron pa rin. The one that you see on the left, sa akin kasi left ko siya nakikita. Yan yung iba't ibang namin, no? Iba't ibang group chats. Meron kaming main group chat kung saan kami lahat magkakasama. Doon kami nagsasend ng mga announcements, doon kami nagsasend ng mga files. Yung mga files na yung mga kaya lang ng yung mga magagaan na files lang, no? And then yan, bakit dumami yan? Kasi in preparation for our Division Science Club Month, if you have the National Science Club Month, we have the Division Science Club Month, which where the association organizes set of activities or contests. Kaya po yan nakaiwahiwalay kasi po hinati po yung 45 to date 45 Science Club advisors ang meron ang Caloocan for the secondary. So hinati po yan. May kanya-kanyang committee, doon po sila nag-uusap-usap. So we have the main GC, meron kami separate GC. That's again another way in the new normal kung paano nagpa-function ang Science Club advisors. Okay, simple kapag pinakinggan pero useful, very significant. Okay? Next you see at the center is the SDO Caloocan Secondary Science Club advisors page. And then the other one sa kabila naman SDO Caloocan Secondary Science teachers. We have the page and we have the private group. What's the difference between the two? Sa page, naka-public yan. So nakikita lahat ng mga announcements, nag-post kami dyan, may mga pinopromote, advertisements. Dito sa private group, since it's private, so kung sino lang yung members na nandoon, in case of this, yung 471 members lang yung makakakita ng post ninyo. So kung ang intention mo, if your intention is to only let your post be seen ng mga science teachers, then post it sa inyong private group. But if you want a large number of people to see your post, then better use the FB page. That's why all these platforms, we have all these platforms in our division, because for every action that we do, there's a corresponding way of on how to do it. So it's either using Messenger, using page, or using an FB group. Of course, additional sa FB group, whenever we do webinar like this or activity na naka-live sa FB page namin, nag-test broadcast muna kami doon sa may private group. Kasi para malimit lang yung nanonood. Okay? Kung kayo ay mag-organize ng inyong mga activities, you first have a test broadcast doon sa inyong private group before you broadcast it sa FB page na mas maraming nakakapanood. Okay? Para kahit na nagko-correct kayo doon, kayo lang nakakita. Actually, this FB group na 471 ay napakarami. Kaya nagte-test broadcast kami sa isa pang FB group na around 30 lang ang members. Andun yung mga selected science club advisors. Okay? So that's number 6. Ngayon, nasagot na natin yung objective number 1 and we also answered number 2. Okay? Number 3 na tayo. Cite some science club activities in the new normal. Okay, I need your full participation again. Okay, makihingi nga po ako ng tulong ulit kay Sir Rainier para i-flash po sa screen yung mga shout out. Sige po, gawin po ulit natin yung kaninang instruction. You type your school, your division, and your region. Tingnan natin kung saan pang mga lugar yung mga nanonood sa atin. IC Cagayan Valley, Pangasinan. Ayan. So, meron dito. Amazing. Wow, Region 10 from Misamis Oriental. Imagine kung gaano kalayo ang nararating ng webinar natin. Kaya, congratulations sa lahat ng bumubuo nitong NSCM. And this is for the first time. Take note, the first time. Okay? It's a milestone in the DepEd family, EdTech unit to be specific. Okay. So now, to answer that, let's proceed to menti.com again. So this is the code 27068664. Makisuyo po to flash on the screen the code 27068664. And then the rest, you could use the comment box again. So this will be the last objective that we need to answer para matulungan natin si James sa kanyang tanong. Paano makapag-organize or makapag-establish na excellent science club? Okay, so that's the code again. So let's have this. Ayan. Thank you so much. Until now, napakarami pa rin nating active members. Shout out sa mga college friends ko. Ayan, hindi ko kayo makakalimutan. Mga high school classmates, high school, elementary, high school, and college friends. Sa Bagong Barrio Elementary School, Bagong Barrio National High School, at syempre sa University of Caloocan City and Philippine Normal University. Yan sa mga schools kung saan ako na-train. Shout out dyan kay Cecil Torres, kay Michelle Bagool. Ay, iba na pala apelido niya. Baka may makalimutan ako Shoutout syempre sa family ko. Kung nanonood man yung family ko, si Papa, nasang ka man. Nood kayo sa mga kapatid ko. Ayan, so nakikita natin Site 1, Science Activity in the New Normal. So halos pare-pare silang nang nailagay kasi wala pa tayong nakikitang medyo malaki. Siguro dahil iba-iba yung number of words sa kanilang na-type. So home science activities. Okay, kung nanonood ka man, James, makikita mo yung mga suggested activity nila in the new normal. So, I'm sure makakatulong yan sa'yo. Let's see if you're the one that you send to me ay nandoon din sa aking mga nakalist. Okay? Maybe yung ilan, medyo familiar na kayo, but actually what makes it different is that, paano ba natin ma-execute? Paano ba natin ma-organize? Yan. Sige, tuloy-tuloy lamang po sa pagsisend ng inyong mga, mga sagot. Ayan, medyo nakita ko mas madami yung sa online quiz B. Of course, hindi na ba mawawala talaga sa Science Month ang online quiz B, okay? Stop ko na. I think okay na yon. So, let's proceed with my slide. All right. Speaking of activities, yan. Sige po, thank you po sa inyong mga participation. Meron din dito sa sa comment section. Or don't forget to to use the hashtag NSCM Week 3. O diba? Tapos next month tuloy. Next week, week 4, last week na natin. So, kasama nyo pa rin ako doon. So I'll be hosting week 4 NSCM. Not as a speaker, but as a host next week. Okay, speaking of celebration ng Science Month, so balikan natin. 2021 National Science Club Month. It says, September has been declared the National Science Club Month, or NSCM, under Presidential Proclamation number 264. Ito yung madalas nakikita natin sa mga memo, no? The said proclamation authorizes the Department of Education, tayo yun, Department of Science and Technology, specifically the Science Education Institute or DOST-SEI, Commission on Higher Education, Philippine Society of Youth and Science Clubs. Ito yung week 1, no? Diniscuss sa atin to nung week 1, kaya hindi na natin masyadong elaborate. Yung PSYSC, and Science Club Advisors Association of the Philippines. So meron nga talagang Science Club Advisors Association of the Philippines. Actually, matagal na, parang 1971. To implement plans and activities pertinent to the National Science Club Month. So ibig sabihin, nasa right track tayo because we are being guided by this Presidential Proclamation number 264 series of 2002. Amended na to. I think the Gloria Macapagal Arroyo before is mandated by the late President Marcos. Okay? All right. Speaking of Science Month activities. Okay. During face-to-face, ilan lamang ito sa mga activities kung paano natin ino-open yung Science Month. Good afternoon po, watching from grade 6 Andres Bonifacio under Ma'am Emmy Ignacio Arresgado. Okay. Paki-include po yung region ha para mas mabilis natin malaman natin. Ayan, may Tagbilaran City Division. Ang lalayo, no? Nakakatuwa. Okay. This one is how we open Science Month in our school sa bagong baryo. Ayan, nakakamiss ang aking mga atoms. Iba-ibang batches yan. So another one is this. Ayan, no? Saya-saya, nakakamiss, no? Amazing morning from Tinajero High School, SDO Pampanga. Parang sa school yan ng next speaker natin next week. Okay. Ayan. Ang saya-saya, nakakamiss ang aming quadrangle. And of course, kung meron face-to-face, may new normal. Recently, we had our virtual 2021 Division Science Club virtual kick-off. Naulit ko yung virtual. Okay, so you can see Sir Omel, Ma'am Lau, mga kasamahan ko sa Science Club, and sa creative team ng Caloocan. And then of course, we have imports si Ma'am Marites ng special program under Sir Patrick. And then we have here, as you can see on the right, sa right ko, ang aming page sa SDO Caloocan CID. Look, 400k views. Napakarami. No? Hindi imposible. Yun ang advantage sa online is mas marami yung nakakapanood. Imagine umabot ng 14k views pero sa face-to-face, di ba, limited kasi limited space. So, yun yung mga, yung mga titignan natin yung brighter side ng new normal, no? Yun naman yung kagandahan. Mas marami tayo, mas malayo yung nare-reach out, mas marami tayong nare-reach out na audience. And then, 270 shares, 1.8 comments, and 1.4K. New normal practice ng SDO Caloocan on how to open the Science Month. That's it. Together with the elementary and secondary science club advisors and teachers. And of course, students as well. Okay? Siyempre, after the division, hindi naman siyempre papatalo yung mga schools. May kanya-kanya ding mga pakulo, kanya-kanyang mga Science Month virtual kick-off. Siyempre, ilan lamang to sa mga isi-share ko, pero madami. 45 schools we have in Caloocan for the secondary na kasama sa association. So we have kahapon lang yung Bagumbong High School Science Club. Ayan, 3.3k views. Ayan ang BBNHS Atoms Family, 2.6k views. And of course, Baysa High School, ang isa din sa pinakamamahal ko, ang Baysa High School with 3.7k views kung saan ako nag-OJT. Ayan, ilan lamang sila sa mga schools sa Caloocan na nag-virtual kick-off. So walang imposible. So sa mga kasamahan natin from all over the Philippines, yung mga schools, if you're planning to conduct a virtual kick-off, you may go for as long as approved ng ating mga officials, no? Because it can happen. Possible po siya. Okay, shout out po from SDO Caloocan, Caloocan North Elementary School. Okay? Next, so these are the different Science Club Month activities na hinanda namin sa inyo. Next week na start, no? For 2 weeks. 1 month to, pero dahil 30 nag-start ang klase, next week po tayo mag-start. So we have site attack or logo making contest. Kung sino yung mananalo dito sa logo making contest na to, ito yung magiging official logo ng aming association kasi kaka-start, kaka-elect lang namin last August. So paano ba kinakandak yung site attack? No? Yung logo making contest na to, this is for teachers category. In the case ng ibang schools or ibang regions, pwede nyo rin naman gawin para sa mga bata. And then, any applications can be used. And then, dapat naka-anchor siya dun sa vision and mission ng school. So, kung paano gawin ng site attack activity, ganun po yun. Sa infographics, so meron tayong infographics, uso-uso yan ngayon, yung mga infographics, no? Yung mga flyers, mga pinapamigay, mga pinupost sa FB, at kung saan-saan pa. Dito, we have infographics, and then we have chosen, we gave, okay, or we include the team, aside from the team from the NSTF, agham pananaliksik at teknolohiya, kabalikat sa matatag at mulad na pamayanan. Dito, in-specify namin sa new normal yung aming team. Pero sa typographics or infographics, kayo na bahala kung saang team nyo siya ipapasok. Watching from Pangasinan. And the number 3 is Magic. Kung natatandaan nyo si Chris Chu, meron siyang palabas dati. May palabas siya dati, di ba? Yung I Believe, parang gano'n. No? Yung I Believe. Tama, I Believe. Gagawin dito, this is for teachers category dahil since new normal, mas safe, mas alam ni teacher. So, hindi sila magsasama-sama, magbi-video sila. Actually, most of the activities na to, may video. Pero yung video time-lapse, mabilis, 1 minute lang. Bakit 1 minute lang? So, that's the tip that I could give you. Pag nagpa-contest kayo, lalo na kapag skills ang contest na yon, may involvement ng skills, i-require nyo po sila magpasa ng video. Pero kung video yan, huwag nyo pagpasahin ng buong video. Kung 3 hours yung ginawa, 3 hours din yung video, hindi. Pwede rin time-lapse. Kahit 1 minute lang, makita nyo lang na siya talaga gumagawa. So, ganun din sa ibang mga contest dito. So, sa Magic, mga teachers ide-demo nila yung mga science experiments at the comfort of their homes. Hindi sila magkasama-sama. And then, bahala na yung video editor nilang teacher ang magko-compile po nun. So, if you want to adopt this activity from our division, then you are free to do so. Next is the digital site poster making. Of course, we're familiar with the poster making contest. Pero this time, the new normal digital site poster. Again, angkla dapat sa team. You can use different applications para dito and to verify na talagang gawa ni teacher or ni student yon, dapat meron time-lapse video. With the criteria, of course, we could have our own criteria. No, hindi ko na pinakita dito yung mga criteria kasi sobrang hahaba tayo. Gusto ko lang, mas okay lang, malis lang to sa inyo para at least kahit paano kung meron pa kayo ditong hindi nagagawa, pwede nyo i-adapt. Next, site talk. It's like extemporaneous speaking. No, you'll ask your student to come up with a speech, no, in a certain topic. No, in our case, yung ginamit namin is yung galing dun sa NSTF or the National Science and Technology Fair. Okay, and then of course, the piece should be provided sa mga judges bago pa man din siya mag-perform. Again, this is recorded as well. Okay, dinire-record para at least yung performance ng bata hindi maapektuhan. Kasi diba minsan may mga disconnection, so mahirap. No? Kaya pinipili-record na. Sailitang tula. Although site talk is more of speaking, this one, shout out to Region 3, Bulacan. Sa Ilitang Tula naman, familiar tayo spoken poetry. Pero madalas naririnig natin spoken poetry ay Tagalog. But this one, sa amin, ginawa namin is English. Pero sa inyo, pwede rin yun naman gawing Tagalog. Any medium. Okay? Kung akala nyo imposible na gawin sa science at spoken poetry, nagkakamali po kayo. Shout out from Negros Occidental. Nagkakamali po kayo dahil pwede rin yan sa science. Okay? Actually, ang dami mga estudyante, no, nabalitaan ko, nakapag-compose ng spoken poetry. And that's, again, nakaka-proud talaga. Okay, next. Face mask and face shield. The thing here, maganda to, no? Makikita natin kung gaano ka-artistic yung mga estudyante. Pero, kapag face mask at face shield tayo, it doesn't necessarily mean na yun yung mga gawa nila igagamitin ng mga bata outside. Kasi kung ito ay recyclable materials ang gagamitin, of course, hindi siya walang assurance siya na talagang protected ka. Okay? So kung gusto mo to ma-push yung gantong contest sa face mask and face shield, make sure that the guidelines are properly explain doon, no? Pati yung criteria that for the sake of artistry or arts, aesthetics, then ilagyan na lang ng note kasi baka gamitin nila sa labas. Ang ginamit naman nila is hindi naman talaga nakakapag-protect, no? So wala din. Shoutout from Zambales. Okay, sinasabay ko ni shoutout. So okay, anyway, last we have Silixic. You will notice, no, lahat ng mga activities namin nilagyan namin ng SCI, nilagyan namin ng prefix na SCI, no, para talagang may trademark siya na for science. Silixic, this is a webinar. Okay, series of webinars. So we choose topics na alam namin related sa team, kaya ang topic na naisip namin something related to research. Of course. Okay, but you can contextualize, okay? You can localize, depende sa regions kung ano ba ang need ng school, ang need ng society. That's the time we will come up with a webinar. Sabihin nyo, alam naman natin yung webinar eh. Ito, the webinar na to. But just to reiterate, when you choose a webinar, katulad nito, we don't just have teachers, but we also have learners. That's why yung approach ko, how to share with you the new practices in the division should be, in the mainstream. Dapat both students and teachers can relate. And I hope everybody could relate. Okay, ganun din sa webinar. Okay, hindi lang basta makaisip, sobrang namang hirap. Talagang mabubore, no? So, maaaring alam natin yung webinar, alam natin kung paano kinakandak, pero nagkakatalo kung anong topic yung pipiliin natin. Depende yun dapat kung ano talaga yung purpose ng webinar. Okay? Yun yung minsan nakakalimutan. And of course, from the different action plans and activities submitted by my fellow Science Club advisors, here are the other suggested Science Club month activities. Of course, di mawawala ang Sensicula. Of course, ang nagpasimuno niya na yung DepEd, ang DOST, no? Sensicula, katatapos lamang last August ng Astring Division. Okay, shout out from Camp 8LM, SDO of Cebu Province, Region 7. Yan, sinasabay ko yung mga shout out. Kasi nag-effort naman talaga kayo manood, no? So malapat lamang na kayo ay i-shout out. Okay, so sa CNC ko alam natin, this is a video competition that highlights all the trends, the innovations, new researches in science and technology. Okay? So yun yung Sensicula. So junior high school, senior high school were able to join last August from division up to the national. Okay? Hopefully, by next year, since new normal pa rin tayo, meron pa rin tayong Sensicula. Of course, Saigaling. Saigaling is actually a quiz bee. Ito yung quiz bee. Okay? Alam na natin yung quiz bee. Hindi ko naman na siguro masyado pang i-elaborate, no? But siguro ang advice ko na lang, when you conduct quiz bee, dahil syempre, di natin sure kung talagang kumopa o hindi. So, maybe you could provide, actually, lahat ng contest should have parents permit eh. Pero dito kasi sa quiz bee, you could ask them to turn on their camera para nakikita sila habang nagku-quiz, no? And then you could choose either Google Meet or Zoom or mag-incognito or any other innovations ngayon. May extension na rin sa Google Meet kapag sobrang dami ng participants. So possible pa din. Kung sa palagay ninyo hindi possible ang quiz bee sa new normal, no, it's actually possible. But in our division, we'll conduct it sooner pa. Okay? Kasi sobrang dami na yung activities. Of course, Sci essay writing contest, alam na natin yon. It's important because through this essay, mas nalalaman natin how students really think about the environment, kung ano ang kanyang perception sa mga nakikita niya sa paligid, especially kung ano nangyayari sa sitwasyon natin ngayon. Sci look alike. Ito, hindi mo kailangan maging sobrang matalino, hindi mo kailangan maging sobrang galing magsalita, hindi mo kailangan basta magaling magsulat. Ang kailangan mo dito is stage presence, no? So, gagaya ka ng scientist, and then of course, kahit nasa bahay ka, magagawa mo yun, masasubmit mo sa teachers mo. 'Di ba? Napakadali. Okay, sige. Tignan nga natin kung nandiyan pa mga audience natin, ang mga viewers, pwede ba makahingi ng maraming hearts? Pwede nyo ba akong bigyan ng hearts? Ayan, pa-shoutout naman po, Alaminos, Pangasinan. Okay, thank you po, Miss Daryl Ann. Okay, hindi ko nakikita kung ilang hearts. Sana madaming hearts. Konting hearts pa. Hindi pala konting. Damihan nyo pang hearts. Okay, next. Sci photography. Sci photography. O, ito naman, kahit nasa bahay ka din, you take a picture na something sa palagay mo strikes you the most, and through your explanation, hindi ka na basta mag-picture. So, kung ikaw ay officer or science advisor, and you wanted to adopt this activity, sci photography, you will not just ask them to take pictures na related sa team. Dapat you ask them to provide explanation. Okay, o kaya photo essay para mas malaman pa natin yung pinaka-nilalaman na mensahe. Kasi minsan, the way you see the picture is different from doon sa kumuha talaga ng picture. Lalo't ngayon ay new normal. Site trivia. Of course, face-to-face pa lang, science trivia, talaga namang ginagamit na natin. Ina-apply na natin. But this one, trivia, you could do it actually daily. No, para mas active, para masaya yung celebration ng Science Month. So, sobrang daming trivia na pwede mong gamitin. Imposibleng hindi ka makapag-site trivia. And of course, ang hindi malaos-laos na site TikTok, no? Until now, usong-uso pa din. So, why not yung hindi mo paghuhugas ng pinggan kapalit ng pagti-TikTok mo, sumali ka na lang sa site TikTok, nagka-grade ka pa, no? Tumaas pa grade mo. So, site TikTok is really entertaining. Aside sa sikat siya ngayon, entertaining siya, may knowledge ka pang makukuha, mapupulot, may knowledge ka pang ma-share. Okay? So, when you do TikTok, maikli lang, you could actually have 1 to 3 minutes, pero yung content ng TikTok na ipapagawa nyo sa mga contestants, basically dapat, again, related sa team. So these are the other suggested Science Club Month activities na hopefully, no, meron man, na hopefully kahit paano nakadagdag doon sa mga hindi nyo pa na isasamang activities for your Science Month celebration. Okay? Can I ask again to use the comment section? Mag-flood ulit tayo. Tignan natin para mag-flash the screen. No, pa-shout out, and also can I get hearts again because I'm about to finish my my session. Can I get hearts? Marami bang nagmamahal sa akin diyan or Daneta City Region 1? Okay, now let's check. Let's see kung nasagot ba natin yung mga objectives para malaman talaga natin, ma-sure natin na matutulungan natin si James. Okay. Describe Science Club. Yes, nagawa natin. We were able to describe. Next, okay, thank you po sa mga hearts. Napakadami. Masyado nyo ako in-spoiled. Thank you, Alarin. Ashley Alarin. Ang daming hearts nun na. Okay, suggest tips in handling a science club. Yes, nagawa natin. And of course, last, yung katatapos lang, cite some science club activities in the new normal. So, perfect. Lahat ay naibigay natin. Walang labis, walang kulang. Alright. Oh, may nag-chat again. Sino kaya to? May nag-chat again. Oops, mukhang si James na naman to ah. Si James nga. Sabi ni James, thank you sir. Ikaw po talaga una kong naalala since ikaw po nag-handle ng Science Club sa BBNHS. This means a lot sir. Pinusuan ko pa. Actually, ito talaga yung reply niya doon sa message ko. Pero James, kung nanonood ka man ngayon, hindi ka lang dapat sa akin magpasalamat. Magpasalamat ka sa lahat ng viewers natin ngayon kasi sinamahan nila ako, tinulungan ako para masagot yung katanungan mo for more than 1 hour. Imagine. Kaya, thank you so much. Okay, James? Sana nakatulong kami sa'yo. Okay. Sana nakatulong kami sa'yo kasi sabi nga, sa Caloocan, walang batang maiiwan. So sa lahat ng mga taga-Caloocan, bigyan nga ako ng hearts kung totoo bang sa Caloocan, walang batang maiiwan. At syempre hindi lang sa Caloocan, maging sa buong Pilipinas. Pwede ba from all over the Philippines, pwede po ba mabigyan niyo po ako ng hearts? Kasi sabi, sa DepEd, mga bata ang number 1. Muli, mula sa SDO Caloocan, Bagong Bayan National High School, I am Sir Gary, your President for SCAAP. Maraming salamat po. Hello
Thank
po,
you, Sir Gary.
Miriam.
Yeah. Ayan.
Magsa-presenting lang ako. Thank you po.
Okay po. Sige po.
Hello
Go
po,
ahead,
Ma'am
sir.
Miriam. Okay na po. I'm done na po. Hello po. Good morning again. It's still morning. Alright po, Ma'am
Okay.
Miriam. Hello po. Nagbabasa rin ako dito. All right.
Congratulations once again, Sir Gary, for this wonderful sharing of your regarding po sa ating updates about the new normal practices of Science Club. Okay, at this point, we would like to award the certificate of recognition. I would like to read the citation first. Ayan. Okay, Republika ng Pilipinas, Department of Education, DepEd Complex, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Certificate of Recognition is awarded to Sir Gary D. Enriquez for sharing his invaluable knowledge and expertise as a resource speaker during the National Science Club Month Webinar Series 2021. In the webinar sessions entitled New Normal Practices of Science Clubs in SDO Caloocan and Future Directions. Ayan. And of course, it was given by the Office of Undersecretary for Administration, OUA, through the Information and Communication Technology Services Educational Technology Unit, the ICTS-EdTech, held on September 18, 2021, given this 18th day of September 2021 at the DepEd Central Office, Meralco Avenue, Pasig City, Philippines, signed by Mr. Mark Anthony C., Head of ICTS-ETU, together with Sir Abram Y.C. Abanil, Director 4 of ICTS, and the Undersecretary for Administration, Sir Alain Del B. Pasqua. Congratulations po once again, Sir Gary. May we request our webinar director to please include Ma'am Vic? Yes, Sir Romel. Ayan.
Hello po.
Hello po, Ma'am Beck and Prof. June.
So good afternoon po.
Hello, Sir Gary. Hello, Ma'am Beck.
Prof. June, may you take this opportunity to discuss or to promote your activities, the activities of your respective school. So,
Yes, ma'am. Maraming salamat po. Okay, so una po, shoutout po muna ako kay Miss Mean Camba from Gat Andres Bonifacio National High School na nakatutok po ngayon yung mga faculty members po nila. Maraming salamat po. And talagang nakatutok ko kay Sir Gary kanina kasi yung mga sinasabi ni Sir Gary, ginagawa din po namin sa BSYA, lalo na yung mga minutes of the meeting, yung paggamit ng Google Drive. Talagang kailangan po yan sa new normal. And I would like to take this opportunity sa mga nakatutok sa atin ngayon to promote one of our virtual events po ng BSYA, which is the celebration of World Space Week 2021. Ito po ay sa October 4 to 10, 2021. Bakit po October 4? Kasi ito po, kung alam niyo po yung history, ito po yung launching ng Sputnik 1. And the launching of the Sputnik 1 led to the space race that eventually led us to land on the surface of the moon. So sinicelebrate po natin itong World Space Week 2021. And we have lined up several online activities. Kagaya po ng sinabi ni Sir Gary, talagang swak na swak po talaga yung kanyang lecture po ngayon. So first we have our online poster making, and then sinabi ni Sir Gary kanina na talagang ito po ang ulang magagawa natin sa online setting. And also we have our Space Week Photo Infographic Contest. Ayun po yung sinabi ni Sir Gary kanina. Ito po yung isa sa mga activities na pwede natin gawin sa new normal. And also we have our Space Quiz. Ito po yung equivalent ng parang quiz bee na online po. Alright, so ayan po, if you want to join, I would like to invite everybody to join sa mga activities natin. You can visit our Facebook page, the DepEd Society of Young Astronomers. You can visit our other online social media accounts po, yung Twitter and Instagram. So maraming salamat po, ma'am, and let's keep reaching for the stars po.
Ayan, thank you po, Sir June, or Prof. June Cahigal for that announcement po. Do you have any events to to share with us. Sir Gary, bago po tayo to proceed with our Q&A portion, do you have any few messages po, mga announcements?
Yes po. For the Division of Caloocan po, we'll conduct our Division Science Club Fair or month next week, ang mga activities po natin. And then we'll end ng September 30. And of course, sa lahat po ng ating mga participants po ngayon, if you have questions po, wag po tayo mahiya. Pwede po tayo mag-message po. Actually, may mga na-receive na ako mga messages, kaya ako nagbabasa ngayon. And shoutout po Caloocan North, Camarindi Elementary School. And again, kasi sobrang dami, sa buong lahat na nanonood from Caloocan. Okay, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
So there you go, Ma'am Miriam. I think they are both ready now, okay, for question and answer to Prof. June and to Sir Gary. Okay, so let's have first the question coming from Miss Keja Joyce Bautista. So the question is, we are often struggling with how to motivate the science lovers to go on with the activities amid the pandemic. Can you give tips on how to motivate them? I think this question will be answered by Sir Gary, since it's all about science lovers. So Sir Gary?
Yes. Actually, it's important to recognize that it's really difficult to conduct activities in the new normal. After recognizing it, as a science club officer, together with your officers, dapat makapag-isip kayo, makapagplano kayo, babalik kayo sa action plan. So kailangan very specific, kailangan talagang makapagplano kayo. Dapat sa inyo mag-start yung motivation, yung enthusiasm. If your colleagues, yung mga ibang mga students from your school, nakikita na sobrang united kayo, talagang active ng club ninyo, it will not be difficult kahit na new normal na mapasunod sila or maging mamotivate sila. Paano magagawa yon? Specifically through using the page, yung diniscuss ko kanina. Through the page kasi makikita yon, ipa-like nyo, ipa-share ninyo, and then consistently. It's a matter of consistency. If you consistently informing the public about your organization, your club, then probably hindi kayo mahihirapan na ma-encourage sila to participate.
So very well said, Sir Gary.
Thank you po.
So it's about campaign. It's about more on promotional campaign, Sir Gary.
Yes.
Page, through our messenger. So we have different messengers kasi, di ba? Tayong mga teachers. So what about Ma'am Miriam? Can you read the question for June?
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Vic. I have here from Eliza Altea de Jesus. She is a grade 8 student from Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School in Caloocan City. This question goes to, I think, for Prof. June. How can we conduct astronomical observations like stargazing amidst the pandemic?
Okay, so Eliza Altea de Jesus, kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Gary kanina, i-maximize natin yung paggamit ng mga social media. Ang ginagawa namin kasi, let's say, stargazing or virtual telescope viewing, so meron po, so gagamitin ko yung telescope, kakabitan ko siya ng parang webcam, then yung webcam na yan ay naka-hook sa computer, and we will stream it via Facebook Live. We will be using minsan Discord para kung ano yung nakikita ng telescope, hindi na nakikita dun sa online social media account like Facebook or YouTube. So, ganun po ang ginagawa natin kasi hindi po tayo talaga pwedeng mag-public telescope viewing. And kagaya ng sinabi ni Sir Gary, talaga yung mga ibang activities na pwedeng gawing online, yung ginagawa din po namin, like yung pa-contest po namin sa World Space Week, ay lahat yun online. Okay, so ganun po ang stargazing na ginagawa namin so far. So, Altea de Jesus, kung gusto mong makita po yung ganda ng ating buwan at yung mga ibang planeta like yung the mighty Jupiter, tumutok po kayo sa aming Facebook page, the DepEd Society of Young Astronomers, at we regularly conduct virtual telescope viewings po doon. Okay po, sana nasagot po ang inyong katanungan.
Thank you very much po, Prof. June. Talaga naman pong napaka-exciting para to sa ating mga mag-aaral, no? Sa ating mga estudyante. Now, once na-invite kami ni Sir June to watch po yung kanyang live stream sa FB, talagang you will talagang mag-i-stick ka talaga hanggang matapos yung program niya. Kasi it's about something moon yung diniscuss ni Prof. June that time. Ayan, sana Althea maka-join ka sa FB live stream ni Prof. June na makikita mo naman yan sa ating FB. Okay, there you go. Maraming salamat po, Prof. June, for that for the question. Okay, we still have another question for the both of you. Pwede ko na ba siyang basahin? Of course, from Ma'am Ria Cruz. Ito po ang question niya. Sir, what different activities or projects should we conduct to our science club members since most of our learners are into modular distance learning? Kindly give us some ideas po. Siguro po, paunahin na natin ang ating, sige, si Prof. June po muna.
Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Miriam. Siguro po, mas expert dito si Sir Gary. Opo, so Sir Gary, kasi na-discuss mo kanina sa talk mo lahat itong mga potential online activities. So probably si Sir Gary po ang mas nakarapat na sumagot dito. So take it away, Sir Gary.
Thank you po, Sir June. No? Medyo challenging na. And anyway, actually, ang unang, the first step is to identify, tama yon. We have to identify yung activity ba is for online distance learning or modular. Hindi tayo basta-basta lang nagpapa-activity. Maganda na na-mention niya for modular distance learning. So, ang assumption natin, or talagang wala, is internet. Walang presence ng internet. So, basically, ang mga pwede kong mai-suggest dito is yung mga activities na pwede ring related or nandoon din sa self-learning module. Like yung mga activities like word puzzle, yung mga yung paggamit natin yung mga sa cryptogram, yung mga numbers and letter representation, pwede natin yung gawing contest. No, lahat 'yon are actually included in the SLM. Pero if you wanted separate from the SLM, you could actually, if you're the organizer, you could create a separate one. Okay? But it's more of writing skills. Okay? If you want speaking skills naman, pwedeng mag-record, pero there must be somebody to go out para i-submit, which is dapat nating i-consider is yung safety pa rin, no? Another thing is pwede pa rin mag-essay writing, slogan making contest, poster making, applicable siya even in the modular distance learning. And another tip also, if you want it to be more exciting, try mong i-link siya sa mga sikat na palabas ngayon, yung mga in, no? Hindi lang naman TikTok, no? Yung mga nauuso ngayon, pati mga famous lines, no? Mga famous lines na nauso ngayon, like yung kaninang ginamit ko, yung punta tayo, 'di ba? Punta tayo sa Baguio as a friend. Pwede mo siyang gawin siyang pa-contest din, pero in some other ways, like pagandahan ng pagre-rephrase ng mga lines, ng mga famous lines, mga ganyan. So we could actually modify a lot of activities to make it more interesting and creative.
And siguro sir, madagdag ko lang, and Miss Ria Cruz, if you will consider, let's say, mga virtual telescope viewings, you can approach me po and we will help you po in conducting your very own virtual telescope viewing sa inyong Facebook page or sa inyong school na gagawin nating online. So just reach us, contact us at our Facebook page, the Beden Society of Young Astronomers, and we would be really glad to help you out sa mga activities nyo if you will consider astronomy as one of your activities sa inyong school. So yan po, Miss Ria Cruz.
Ma'am, pwedeng bago ko makalimutan pa shoutout ko na. Saglit lang.
Go ahead, sir.
Mabilis. Shout out po kasi napakabait nito sa akin. Ang classmate ko si Angelica Bagtas from Josepi Laurel High School, pati mga teachers din po doon nanonood. And all the way from Pangasinan po, ma'am. Pinapanood tayo, kanina pa ako may chat mula kay Ma'am Teresa Gonzales, all the way from Pangasinan po. Pero galing siya before sa Baysa. Yun po. Maraming salamat po kay Ma'am Camero ng Caloocan High School. Shout out.
How about you, Sir June? Would you mind to shout out someone?
Siguro sa mga administrators ng San Beda University Senior High School. So nakatutok po sila ngayon, lalo na si Sir Benjamin Sonaho ng aking activities prefect. And sa mga ka-spacers natin out there na nakatutok po ngayon, mga ka-spacers, mga kasyensya po natin dyan. So marami pong salamat sa pagtutok nyo dito sa ating week 3 ng webinar po natin ngayon po. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much po to our two great speakers for this morning for answering the top questions given by our webinar participants. And of course, bago po tayo magpatuloy, thank you very much once again, Sir Gary and Prof. June for joining us our third week po ng ating webinar series. God bless you po and mabuhay po kayo. And of course, before we proceed, ayan, congratulations po once again. Before we proceed, we would like to pave the way for our shout-outs po para sa ating mga webinar participants na walang sawang tumutok po sa atin ngayon. Hanggang 12, as of 12:14 this morning, no? From Maida Makailing Halandoni, good morning, watching from Igkaratong Elementary School District of San Joaquin South SDO Iloilo. Good morning po once again sa inyo po, no? And enjoy po natin na ating pong araw today. And we have Ma'am Beck, pararaanin ko na to, si Ma'am Carmelita Daliba. Thank you so much, Sir June and Sir Gary, for sharing with us your knowledge about the topic. Ayan, talaga pong nakatutok sila sa atin ngayong umaga. And of course, we would like to shout out our friends po, no? From Santa Lucia High School, si Ma'am Bibiana Adame. And of course, from Novaliches High School, si Sir Ian and si Ma'am Sukeya for tuning in. Ano? Maraming salamat po sa inyo. And of course, we would like to shout out din po sa aming principal, together yung aming pong principal sa Caloocan North District 3, of course, SDO Caloocan, si of course, si Sir Moises Arto Mundong for giving us this chance. Ano? And of course, to our master teacher, Ma'am Rochelle De Los Reyes and Ma'am Marichu Gina Zereno, together with our science core, Ma'am Rezeline D. Celso. And of course, ang ating po PSDS Elementary, si Ma'am Marie Grace Rigao, and our PSDS po sa Junior High School, Sir Emmy, Doc Emmy Macarubo po. Yan. Thank you very much. Yes, Ma'am Vic.
Okay, so since nag-shoutout na si Miriam, so may I take this opportunity also to having a shout out. So shout out to Dr. Charmina C. Cruz of Chulita Zamora Junior High School. She's still watching on the FB page of EdTech Unit. Also to Ma'am Cynthia Parinas of Chilito Zamora Junior High School, my Ninang. Hello, Ma'am Parinas. And to our science family, Ma'am Joy Asiso, Ma'am Emily R. Bautista, and Ma'am Azinit O. San Nicolas, my science family from Antonio Luna High School. So going back, ma'am, for the updates of NSCM Week 2 starts for the PD or PDLMS update. So we have the total enrolled participants. So 18,369. Then for the recipients of certificate for week 1, we have 11,103. Then for week 2, recipients of certificate is 7,229. So it is still open. You can have your quiz pa. Then we have a reminder, simple reminders for the registration. So participants may enroll to the webinar course via PDLMS at training.deped.gov.ph. So to enroll, this one is for those who don't have yet the PDLMS account. So they can create an account, log in their credentials, then go to site home, click course categories, click ICTS-EdTech Unit, choose Webinar Series 2021, and that is the course. Click National Science Club Month Webinar Series 2021, and then finally click Access and Enroll. So there's no enrollment key for this course. Okay. Then Ma'am Miriam, you do the exit quiz reminder.
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Vic, and thank you once again. Ito na po tayo sa ating exit quiz. Ayan. Meron po, we have participants will answer, of course, at 10 and item exit quiz to qualify for certificate of participation. For national certificate with Office of the Under Administrator po, memo for reference po yan. No? Score must be of course 10/10. Ayan, kailangan po ma-perfect natin. Madali lang naman po yan kapag nakinig tayo dito sa webinar series po ng ating mga speakers. Okay, next reminder po, please answer the NSCM Webinar Series Evaluation Form Week 3. Yan lang po ang gagawin ng ating mga webinar participants. And of course, for our last reminder for today, certificates of participation will be given to the participants through the DepEd PDLMS. And those who will have complete attendance, of course, all 4 Saturdays po, simula po na nag-start tayo ng September 4 and until to the last week po natin, on the 4th week, shall receive a certificate of recognition, which is a national certificate. Ayan. Thank you very much. Ayan. Once again, indeed, we are truly, we are fully armed with the learnings that we got from the 2 highly competent resource speakers. Ang dami nating natutunan sa araw na to regarding sa astronomy and updates about the new normal practices of the Science Club. At talaga namang magsisilbing tulay ito ng ating mga mag-aaral na mahalin pa at pagningasin ang kaalaman sa agham. Sabi nga natin, be an aghamazing and mahusay na bata. No? Okay, to be an aghamazing, hindi lamang sa ating mga bata, pati sa ating mga guro. Take it away, Ma'am Vic.
So now, this is to formally close our webinar series NSCM #Week 3. So, magkita-kita tayo muli sa Week 4 po. Week 4. So, thank you so much. Week 4. Okay,